You're listening to The Pete Shepherd Show.
I don't need them damn glasses. Good morning, everybody. How are you? It's Friday. I'm in a goofy mood, just so you know. I'm going to make fun of a lot of people today. As far away as Australia. By the way, Australia, hello. You're going to love what I have for you. A little bit later on, get your Kleenex ready. Get your box of Kleenex ready. You're going to want to hear. Good morning, everybody. Hope your day is off to a great start on this Friday, August 16th. We are just 8 days away from the college football season, ready to go. Kicked off by Florida State and Georgia Tech in Dublin, Ireland. Lots to discuss today, though. I do have some other college football news for you. Lots of NFL news. We'll recap another boring exhibition game last night. The Philadelphia Eagles covering the 2.5, as I thought, beating the Patriots 14-13. The bigger story, though, Drake May played pretty well overall. Played pretty well. A couple of drops. Had some really nice throws. A couple of drops. A couple of great catches also. And, of course, he had a great touchdown run, which Jerry Thornton of Barstool Sports, who will join me at 8:30 this morning, released a video saying, and he's being facetious about it, the legends of Drake May has begun after that little run option that he had for a touchdown in the game. But overall, a very boring game. Why Bailey Zappi was in at the end, beyond me. I just don't understand it. But you saw a lot of Drake May last night. You saw a lot of Joe Milton. And on the flip side for the Eagles, boy, oh boy, there's nothing like seeing not Jalen. You saw no Jalen Hurts. What you did see was a combination of Stanford, Pittsburgh, and West Virginia quarterbacks, meaning McKee, meaning Pickett, and Greer. So I'm sure Angel had a fun time with that. But Angel was off doing other things, which I tweeted out, which we're going to play. And when I call for this is not Angel being narcissistic. This is me commending him. First of all, hang on a second. Before we get to all that, we're going to have, Eagles Patriots recap, lots of NFL camp news, college football news. The Notre Dame swim team is in trouble for gambling. RG3 and Sam Ponder at ESPN fired out. So a little bit of a conspiracy theory regarding RG3. Not sure about Sam Ponder. They're talking about Greeny now stepping in on NFL Countdown for her. And I don't know why the Haley Welch, the Haktua girl, is throwing out a first pitch at the Mets game, even though it was some other. She didn't throw it to a catcher. She threw it to another blonde, long-haired girl in shorts or something with a Mets jersey on. And then she had like a little sit down at the Mets microphone in the locker room. I really don't understand it. It's pathetic that she got that her 15 minutes that Angel and I were talking off the air was definitely up. And a lot more. That break dancer, whatever that was in Australia, she don't want you to talk about her anymore. She's a little upset. Well, grow a set, have a Vegemite sandwich, and get over yourself because you sucked, and your own country is investigating you as to how the hell you even got into the Olympics. But we'll play the video. Have your Kleenex box standing by or other form of tear tissue, as they say. With that, we say good morning to Angel Martinez. Good morning, Angel. How are you? Speaking of Kleenex.
Get your Kleenex ready. Good morning, folks. Good morning, Pete. At least we have a sunny start to the day after many gloomy ones that we've had, but it's supposed to be nice. And the heat index is supposed to go just under 100 today.
Yes, it's going in that Hurricane Ernesto. Oh, by the way, how's your family in Puerto Rico? I forgot to ask you yesterday.
They're swimming around the island. They're fine. They just went down the mudslide hill and they're just fine.
Swimming around the island.
It's what they do.
That's what they do. Anyway, well, that Hurricane Ernesto, or Cat 1, I think might be a Cat 2, but by the time we're done today. But Cat 1, going to veer off, going to miss Florida. The East Coast might get a little remnants of, some high sea or high surf, but not a lot. But what it is doing to benefit us here, at least in Florida, is bringing drier air in. So I'm told it's going to feel much drier and a lot less humid for the next 4 or 5 days, which is good because it's been quite oppressive here in the great state of Florida. And speaking of the great state of Florida, unless you watched it on tape delay, or you will, the Patriots Eagles game last night was not in your repertoire because I must say, Angel Martinez, you were looking quite snazzy, smashing on the sideline covering USF and defending national champion Florida State go at it in the soccer match last night that you're doing on the side, your other stuff that you have to cover. So we've all been there. I commend you. Two things. One, thank God that game wasn't in the middle of the day yesterday.
Yeah.
And two, I know it was a blowout. I think you said FSU, Florida State won 5-1, defending national champions. But the bigger story is, and I may, this may be the first time I've ever asked you to do this, but I'd like you to punch up yourself. You have to scroll. You have to scroll down on my Twitter page, and you'll see yourself. But that's an awesome. That shirt is whatever you're wearing is pretty snazzy.
I will tell you as soon as I come over. I think it's the first time I ever even put myself on video, so this should be.
Yeah. Well, I'm calling. This is not you. This is me because the people need to see you in action here on the sideline. Well, let's just play the video first, and then we'll talk about your repertoire.
Hey, it's Angel Martinez here with Coastal Sports Network and Sports Radio 102.9 FM. The game that should have been a lot better in the outcome for USF, unfortunately, was not the case as the defending champions end up with a victory tonight, 5-0. USF women, it seemed like the second half, it was not there for them as FSU remained in their end zone the entire second half, what it seems like. Only about 2 minutes and some change that USF was able to come over to the FSU end zone, but there was no score. 2 attempts, both went wide, and they tried to make the best attempts they possibly could. But Riley, number 5, and number 8, Jimenez, for FSU, goes 3 and goes 4. Did not catch the number 5th goal, but nonetheless, 5-0 FSU, 2 late yellow cards. We'll have the complete wrap-up tomorrow morning on Martinez Company. Thank you all for watching. Have yourselves a great night. Hey, it's Angel Martinez here.
There you go. There's you. First of all, yeah. So someone on the sideline on the press come down and give you the names of the lady who scored the 5th goal. They should have. Don't they know who you are? They're gonna come down and give you access to that kind of stuff. You can't be sitting on the sideline without access to that stuff.
Well, the funny part was that there was a 5th goal, but it was never even announced over the PA system either. So which was really kind of bizarre. And then at one point we heard the ref saying a disallowed goal, but the goal remained on the board. So there was a little bit of confusion towards the very end of the game, which I understand. But I mean, FSU looked, unfortunately, a lot better, 22-0-1 than they had for last season for a record. But it was FSU fans showed up. Half of the bleachers were nothing but FSU fans, and they were decked out, of course, in their gear, Seminoles gear. But obviously the USF fans came out as well. I would say at least about 20% of the men's football team was there, and they also had practice going on. You could see it inside the facility next door, and they had the crowd noise acting as a night game. But it was it was good. The shirt that I have on there, usually when I go remote somewhere, I always have the Broad Street South shirt, and it's got the sports radio on one side and TBL on the other, which I always get questioned. Like, if you're at a soccer game, why do you have a basketball shirt on? I just do the turn around and just look at this side, and then you understand. But no, it was a lot of fun. So we'll be covering the men's soccer team. Obviously, they play Saturday night. That's their first game. Women was last night for their first one. And then you have volleyball here coming up. So a lot of the fall sports for USF I'll be covering here with the Coastal Sports Network and a lot of stuff that's happening there. And then, if all works out well, which I'm still waiting for, I was supposed to get it last night, the full season credentials for the Tampa Bay Sun Football Club, of course, the USL Super League, the Women's Super League that was just launched this year. It was approved for that credential as well. So hopefully we'll be there on Sunday night at Riverside Stadium, Riverview Stadium, and having a good time there as well. But it was good. It was a lot of fun last night. Just USF second half couldn't get it together.
All right, good stuff, Angel. I'm sure now you have your show coming up today at 10 o'clock, correct? And you'll have more on that then?
Yep.
Cool.
Sure will.
All right, if we could scroll down, let's get back to the NFL. Last night, the Patriots and the Philadelphia Eagles went at it in Foxborough, where the crowd for USF and Florida State for soccer might have been better than the crowd in Foxborough yesterday. But anyway, if we could scroll down to Christopher Price, always my buddy from the Boston Globe, always has a fair and objective post report. He couldn't join us today because he's busy. He's going to join us next week. So here's a few quick thoughts on the wake of last night's game by Chris Price. Yeah, it's about five stories down from no. There we go. There you go. 14-13, Eagles win.
As long as we don't do like the freaking Yankees the way they do it at the very end. All right, here's Jerry.
Hey everyone, Christopher Price, the Boston Globe and the Believe Network here at Gillette Stadium to break down a few quick things in the wake of the Patriots' 14-13 preseason loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. First off, let's look at the good. Drake May rushed for a touchdown, led a scoring drive, 25 snaps unofficially. It was a good start for the rookie quarterback who came in relief at Jacoby Brissett, but he showed a lot of good over the course of the evening. It's certainly something worth building on. Another good thing, the defense. They had the lead up until the very end of the ball game, and I thought they showed a lot of fight, a lot of grit, a lot of heart. Again, look, these were 2s and 3s for Philadelphia, but I thought there was a lot of good to take out of this game defensively as the Patriots enter the post-Matthew Judon era. The not so good, the offensive line, they need some help at tackle. Whether it's a trade, whether it's scouring the waiver wire or looking for a free agent pickup, whatever the case may be, they need to build some tackle depth. They need to work on that protection plan, whether it's Brissett, whether it's Drake May, whether it's Bailey Zappi or Joe Milton, whoever is back there, they're not doing their best to set the quarterback up for success. Again, it's going to be interesting to see how the Patriots try and fix this moving forward, but they need to do something between now and the start of the regular season. One more point. No one important got hurt. Jaquay Jackson went down with what looked like a leg or a knee injury. We don't know the prognosis on him moving forward, but that's one of the underrated things. When you talk about preseason action, none of your starters got hurt, and I think that's a good thing for the Patriots. Moving forward, they're going to have one more preseason game on Sunday night, August 25th in Washington. Then the regular season starts Sunday, September 8th, against the Bengals in Cincinnati. That's it from here. Christopher Price, the Boston Globe and the Believe Network, signing off.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate summation. What he didn't add in that I will is that Jacoby Brissett sucked. He threw a horrible interception in the end zone while they were in the red zone. It was just terrible. Man-to-man coverage. You should have just thrown the ball away. It was terrible. Joe Milton III did not dazzle at all either. So Brissett and Milton combined for 5 of 14. Again, this is against your Eagles 2s and 3s. 5 of 14 for 37 yards and 1 interception, which was by Brissett. On the contrary, Drake May was 6 of 11, 47 yards, and rushed for a touchdown as well. You might see the 6 of 11 go, oh, okay, he's got to be better than that. No, there were a couple of drops. He had a couple of beautiful throws. One was a bad route run by a receiver. The other one was just flat out dropped, like on a 60-yard bomb. Absolutely perfect. That was dropped by the kid out of UCF. What's his name? Who was it? The kid out of UCF that they had. I believe he dropped a big bomb. But anyway, Chris is right. Overall, the defense, again, going up against most of the Eagles 2s and 3s, they played really well. I mean, they sacked Pickett 4 times in the first half, a couple of back-to-backs. But it is what it is. Another under win for me. Told you, just keep taking the unders in all these games. I don't know why that total was 33.5 last night. I would have made it, 30 at tops. But it's just you knew the 2s and 3s were playing for the Eagles, and you knew, the Patriots have a hard time scoring anyway, no matter who's out there. So you just got to take the under in those games. It was clear to me once we knew the Eagles weren't going to have any starters out there, basically, that it would be a very, very low scoring, boring game, which it was. Outside of Drake May rushing it in for the touchdown, it really wasn't that exciting. Gaspon Guy says, "Good morning, fellas. All is well. Have a great day." Great. Angel, if we could scroll back down, I want to get to from Jerry Thornton. Where is it? It's down. Yeah, it's a short clip from Jerry, but this was the only real highlight of the game. He had a couple nice throws, Drake May, but this is Drake May running it in for a touchdown, as Jerry puts so succinctly. The Drake May legend is born. Now he's doing it tongue in cheek.
Here he goes.
All right, so that's really that was the highlight of the game. There are a couple more, but that's really the highlight of the game for both teams. It really wasn't that exciting. I just wanted to see some progress with him, and it did. And if we could scroll, but there was an awkward moment on the field as well during. Where is it? I had it during it's the beginning of the third quarter. And Steve Burton, who does a sideline report, he's a WBZ anchor on TV, good friend of mine, and does a reporting on the sideline during preseason for the Patriots. And right under you, Angel, right under you, your clip is a very odd. I just want you to hear this from Andre Stevenson, great running back for the Patriots. And just listen to how this all went down. It was very awkward.
I got to ask you about the guy who just left. How much are they going to miss him? And who's going to step up in his place?
Yeah, I miss Bill. That was one of my favorite coaches. But, Mayo, he's a great leader. He knows what he's doing with us. And, yeah, I'm excited for Mayo, and I think we can get it done with him.
I wasn't talking about Mayo. I was talking about your defensive teammate.
Oh, Judon.
He's moving on to better places.
Yeah. Excited.
At least a different place.
A different place. Excited for him. I still know he has a couple more years in him, so I'm excited for him.
All right.
So that was a little awkward, and especially Steve going, he's moving on to a better place. I don't know if Atlanta's a better place, but he's going to a better team, at least offensively right now, not even close. The Falcons, again, let's see what Kirk Cousins does over there. He's got to put up 40. Certainly Matthew Judon will help. But I was watching the game live when Steve asked the question, I knew immediately he was talking about Judon. Bill didn't even enter my mind, but apparently Bill Belichick was still on Ramondre Stevenson's mind. So we have that. What else is going on? There's one more. If we could scroll up to awful announcing, and Scott Zolak and the McCourty twins doing the game last night, along with Paul Perillo, Brian Hoyer, back in the locker room in their cushy chairs. But I think Zoe might have let a little cat out of the bag here about who's going to be calling in Week 5 the Dolphins-Patriots game in Foxborough. If we could play that, Angel.
They got Brady. Ooh. Got Brady repping, doing games. It's going to be pretty good, I think.
He'll be back here at some point. I think it's Week 5. I'm
probably
with,
Miami, about Miami,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
I'm with CBS, so we don't talk about Fox announcers.
I know. Brady be back Week 2. All right. They got Brady.
Yeah. So that's something. Now, that tells me that's going to be, first of all, the game's on Fox, which would normally be on CBS, the Dolphins, Patriots in Foxborough. That's interesting. That's going to be, all their games are scheduled, basically, except for the primetime game against the stupid Jets are 1 o'clock games. I think just about every single one of them. But, Brady's on their number one team, so that's going to be it seems like it's more about Tom coming back, broadcasting in Foxborough than it is the Patriots-Dolphins game, because Miami's had New England's number the last few years. It's been kind of embarrassing, to be honest with you, how bad it's been, their record against them. But that's something that they would make that the national game of the week if Tom is doing it on Fox and not even CBS. That's odd, but we digress. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Thanks, everybody, as always, for listening. The Pete Shep Show on the Coastal Sports Network video platform. Follow me at PShep326 at Twitter X, on Facebook at SR1029 The Game, all over the place, and also SR1029thegame.com. That's where you can download the app. Ion TV, CSN Florida, Rumble, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, and YouTube. You can call or text at 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650. By the way, speaking of the Falcons yesterday, for the second straight day, they made another pretty big move. They signed free agent safety Justin Simmons. He's a two-time Pro Bowler to a one-year, $8 million contract on Thursday. And he'll join fellow Pro Bowl selection Jesse Bates III to form one of the best safety combinations in the NFL. So now you're talking with the Falcons. You get two guys. You get Justin Simmons, and you have Jesse Bates III back there. Plus, you have a pass rusher, Matthew Judon. So now the Falcons, who were terrible last year on defense, now you're starting to make some progress. Pete, when is Brady's first commentary game? If you know, yes, we've talked about it a few times, Gaspunk Guy. It will be week 1 in Cleveland when they host the Dallas Cowboys. So that is that's one of the games of the week on Fox. I think it's a 4:25 start, but I'm not mistaken. I'll tell you. Hang on, I'll look it up real quick here. So, Cleveland Browns schedule processing. Yeah, home against Dallas. It is 4:25 on Fox. So that is Tom Brady's first game, first official game that he will be commenting on. And speaking of the Browns, out of the gate, home against the Cowboys, at Jacksonville, home against the Giants, and at the Raiders. So we'll see what happens there. Got some interesting stories coming up today, some interesting video as well. I thought it's something that I used to talk about for the last few years about Jameis Winston. He was on the Pat McAfee show. If we could scroll down to this, Angel, this is really interesting to me. Speaking of the Cleveland Browns and Jameis Winston there, of course, the backup to Deshaun Watson. It's NFL on ESPN. It's like four stories down. Really, really interesting because I used to talk with my former partner, Craig. We would bring this up about, when Winston was at Tampa Bay, he led the team in, not only in touchdowns, but he also led the team in interceptions. And we always thought, is there an eye issue? Is it possible that he needs, LASIK surgery or some, form of that? So interesting stuff with Pat McAfee yesterday regarding Jameis Winston. We could.
Is that ESPN?
No, it's on my Twitter page, 4 stories down.
Here I'm looking on ESPN.
Oh. Yep. Actually, 3 stories down. Yep. But I thought it was an interesting conversation that they had, something that I had been wondering myself for a long time. Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
But let's go back in time. When you were playing at Tampa, okay, and you lead the NFL in touchdowns and then also interceptions, and then you go back to Florida State, you win a national championship, and you win a Heisman. It came out shortly after. Were you blind during those times? Is that because the way we talk about it is you were blind. You were just a blind man. And then you get LASIK whenever you get to New Orleans. And are you the most accomplished blind man in the history of football? And how big of a difference was it whenever you got your eyes fixed? Could you see things a little better?
I can see.
Well, I wasn't blind, Pat, but I'll tell you what, LASIK is definitely a game changer. Just the fact that I was able to actually read a stop sign that was clear, read the street signs without using Apple Maps or Google Maps. It really helped me out with my depth perception. But a lot of times at Florida State, I was squinting to look at the scoreboard, and typically we were up, most of the time when I was squinting at Tampa to look at the scoreboard, I was trying to see if I could change the score a little bit. But it really impacted my game just in terms of seeing the depth of linebackers, identifying pressures sooner, and just processing information really fast.
Yeah, so you couldn't see Guy couldn't see the stop sign. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, well, we're happy you got your vision. I am also somebody that got LASIK, and my life changed overnight. It was like I walked into the Colts practice facility. I had no idea what the roof looked like because all the lights, everything's just so blurry.
Yep.
I walked in and I'm like, this is a beautiful facility. Hey, you guys did good on this place. Like, yeah, you've been here 3 years. It's like, yeah, that was the first time seeing it. Yeah, it's a whole game changer.
Yeah, so interesting stuff, and we'll see what happens. Deshaun Watson, a lot of pressure on them, on the Cleveland Browns. I saw one NFL Network, rating system had the Browns ranked 10th in the NFL. Okay, a lot of that stuff is subjective, but didn't have the Miami Dolphins in the top 10, so that's interesting. But Deshaun Watson, lots of pressure, a whole crap load of pressure on the Dallas Cowboys for opening week in Cleveland. That place is going to be going nuts. And they are going to be, those fans are going to be all over Dak Prescott and company. Meanwhile, Amari Cooper got hurt yesterday. I guess it's a minor injury as well, but he left practice yesterday. Let me see. Hall was injured in practice yesterday, a day after he got arrested. But I think Amari Cooper, from what I understand, got dinged up a little bit yesterday, but should be okay. But that's going to be a great first game of the year on Fox 425. Right after my Patriots lose to the Bengals in Cincinnati, go right over, and that'll be the big feature game of the day. Looking forward to that one as well. All right, we are ready for our first break today. Lots coming up. I said when we come back, more sound from the NFL, more video. I still don't know how Haley Welch gets any publicity. Here I am giving her more by throwing out the first pitch of the Mets game. I don't know what the Mets are thinking. Again, it wasn't to a catcher; it was for some other blonde in shorts with long hair. I don't know what that was about. Then they chest bumped halfway between home plate and the mound. That's I really don't get it. RG3 and Sam Ponder fired from ESPN as well. There's some conspiracy theories out there because RG3 took some shots at Paul Feinbaum, about his takes on Florida State for some reason, even though RG3 didn't go to Florida State, which I think is interesting. But he had some things, not so nice things to say, or really, I don't know if it was cause for firing, but you got to be careful you take shots at the big wigs over at ESPN because Big Brother is watching and they don't like that. Also, a couple of interesting exchanges yesterday on First Take with Gary Strusky and Randy Scott, who both used to work at Nesson in Boston. And now they've done a pretty good job hosting a Sports Center at their time in the morning. I think they do the 7 o'clock, the 10 or whatever it is. I can't tell what's live and what's repeated on Sports Centers anymore. There's so many of them, so many different. There's Los Angeles and there's Bristol and I don't know, Washington, D.C. It seems like they're all over the place. But what I do catch, Stephen A is one of those guys that, because these two younger guys kind of bring a different perspective to stuff. And he sits there and looks at them like they're stupid. I can't stand it. What's stupid or looks really ignorant and arrogant is when he, meaning Stephen A, and even attempts to try to talk college football. Like I said yesterday, the only thing that man could say is Alabama. And I like Stephen A personally, but when he's talking about college football, he is so far out of his lane that it's embarrassing. It's like, just stay away from it. Defer to the people that are covering the game and watch the game all the time. All you do is watch Alabama or you see highlights. Anyway, we'll give you a couple of exchanges there. And then we will also have in a little bit as well from Australia. We will have Australian breakdancer, and I use that term lightly. Australian breakdancer Reagan breaks her silence after being mocked online. Get this ready. No, I'm just a human being. The story is how somebody in your native country, Australia, let you into this thing. I know her husband have some kind of breakdancing connection and have some breakdancing club, which I didn't know that is even a thing. But we'll let you hear from her when we come back as well. Then get into some more NFL news. So I'll give you some time to get your tissue ready. Not sure I can take it. I only heard the first 20 seconds. Anyway, it's all part of the Pete Shepard Show here on a Friday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. And guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
High on Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, IonTP.com. High on Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by High on Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class, let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Awesome. Where were
were you, Jill? Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Shepherd Show.
Well. Angel, you and I have talked about comedian, is it Bill Engel, right? Bill. And you know, one of his famous bits that he does is, there's your sign.
Yeah.
It's like if I hold this Powerade bottle up, not that they're a sponsor and everything, and you say, hey, what is that, a purple drink? And there's your sign. Well, Angel, it's happened again. This happens several times a year in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. If you could, please pull up the last tweet I have under the show. If you are commuting in Boston today on Storrow Drive, there's your sign. It happened again, even though there are multiple signs that tell you if your truck is this high to not do this. This happens several times a year. It's the dumbest, stupidest thing, and you'll see it, and then we'll just roll the tape. If I'm not seeing it, Angel.
Hang on, let me do the rewind ski.
It's just so stupid. Okay, now I can see it. Okay, here it is. About 40 minutes ago on Storrow Drive in Boston.
By the way, folks, there's no sound, so just to kind of heads up.
So there is the remnants of a truck that smashed into Storrow Drive, the overpass, and I hope nobody was hurt, but there are signs, several of them, that say if your truck is this tall, do not do this.
Yep.
So it happened. If we could just run that again, the first few seconds, Angel. See the Citgo sign. So it's, probably a mile outside near where Fenway is. But this was that. We pause it right here. Pause it when the truck is right there. If we could let it run a little bit and pause where the truck is. So this is what happens all the time. These trucks, even though they've been warned, don't do this, they still do it. I hope nobody was hurt, but man, it's just so stupid. It's absolutely stupid. Somebody says, why isn't the low clearance sign lower with a couple of flashing lights? Well, I think there is one of those previously to that, but yeah, that's not a bad point. And obviously to tip over like that, usually they don't tip over, Angel. Usually they just get stuck, So it's like Bill Engel when he says, "Oh, would your truck get stuck? Is your truck stuck?" No, I just tried to carry this overpass with me a couple of miles. There's your sign. So that tells me they were probably speeding.
More likely.
The fact that this thing, and speeding on that road at this time of morning is not a good thing. I mean, if you're lucky, you can get to 40 miles an hour. Just crazy.
But it's the same thing too, where you should know when you jump in your truck, and I know they've made this mandatory finally, thank God, because of things like this, accidents, but they have it, there's a sticker where you shift your gears. Now, of course, it's all different because some of them are computers, some of them just have the 3 shifters, but it tells you the height of your vehicle. You should also know as you're mapping your route, because even if you use Google Maps, whatever else, normally when truckers are nearby, they usually put information out there like, hey, by the way, don't take this access road because you'll come to a point where it's unavailable. Now, some guys, if they're running behind, because I've seen it when it happens in Philly all the time, they will detour from the route. And of course, no one knows the route they're going to. And there's one in Philly where I'll tell you it's only 10 foot even, but you'll get an 11-foot truck trying to hit that 10-foot mark, and it doesn't work out too well.
I just wouldn't take a chance. Even if I thought my truck was like a foot lower, I just wouldn't take a chance. Who the hell knows what happened? It's just stupid. And there are several low clearance signs to tell you that well in advance, like a mile before you even come to that conclusion. Go around, go across the bridge, cross the bridge and go over on Memorial Drive that way. Very simple. It runs parallel. You go by, we have to go a longer route through, near Harvard, but go that way. Or go Jamaica Plain. Go someplace else. Have some different routes. Don't take your stupid truck on Storrow Drive. I'm telling you, it'll happen like 3 or 4 times a year, Angel. It's so stupid. Ridiculously stupid. Speaking of ridiculously stupid, and if we may again, I know Angel's doing yeoman's work today as usual. It's the first story underneath on Twitter. The Haktua girl. This is what happened yesterday at I was going to say Shea Stadium, but no, at Citi Field before the Mets blew a 5-0 lead and lost to the Oakland A's. And this person threw out the Haktua girl throws out the first pitch. MLB sends out the Haktua girl to throw the first pitch at the Mets game. I don't think there's any sound for this, but I'm not sure.
All right. Can you see it?
Yeah, I do.
Earlier today, Haley met with our America's Vet Dog Buddy and made a donation in support of their cause. Our ceremonial catcher is Kelsey Bradford. All right, Haley, it's your pitch.
How?
Earlier today, Haley met.
Get it? I seriously, I don't understand, and I don't understand the Mets. I don't understand if MLB actually technically, how you allow this. How do you introduce her? Because I couldn't hear the PA now. I said to her name, Haley, right? That's her name. I don't even know her name. Haley. How do you, did he introduce her as a Haktua girl? And how do you explain that to your kids if they're there? Somebody explain that to me. Why is this girl out there throwing the first pitch? Because she's, I'll tell you, Sally. See, here's the thing. In this day and age, if you're at, if somebody comes up to you with any type of camera and you fake spitting on a penis, you can become famous. How would that explanation go? Well, it's the truth. I always want to tell kids the truth. Is that not the truth, Angel?
That is the truth. Unfortunately, it's the truth.
Truth.
It is the truth. I mean, there's things that people make viral now that before used to be one of those things. Like if you had a side conversation with somebody, it was one thing, but now almost everything can become viral. And I'm quite sure that guy, when he did the original video, wasn't thinking it was going to happen, but it did. But we'll play it back because I want to hear. I want
to have the PA announcer. Yeah.
Yeah, because I heard him say her name, but I don't think he mentioned Haktua girl. Here it goes.
Earlier today, Haley met with our America's Vet Dog Buddy and made a donation in support of their cause. Our ceremonial catcher is Kelsey Bradford. All right, Haley, it's your pitch.
All right, now I heard something about a cause, maybe. I don't know if there's some sort of charity thing. Obviously, I don't know who he mentioned both the young ladies' names. What was it? Meredith? I don't even know what the hell their names are. It sounded like, Angela, might have been for a cause of some sort. But I looked under the Mets recap today, and I saw nothing about it.
I think, if I remember correctly, in one of her videos, I want to say it might have been like a month after the whole video release, and she was talking about that she's stretching out her 15 minutes or whatever it was, but like she wasn't saying it almost like look at me type deal. She did say something about animals and something she was involved with before. So I don't know if that's exactly what they're talking about, or in order to bring her on, they tied her in with a charitable event, because I wouldn't think the Mets would be that crazy to be like, and here's Haley, I forgot what her last name is, the Haktua girl. Yeah. I mean, that would just sound ridiculous as a PR.
I don't know. Even if it was for a charity, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's just, I don't care what charity it is. If I were part of that charity, I'd drop her, So I just.
Wait. Speaking of signs, we missed the sign earlier.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Chara's mom said there's low clearance signs. Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Yep.
And they're at least a mile in advance. Like I said, you should know if you're driving in any big city like that, or, I mean, you're driving down, if you're driving in New York in the 5 boroughs, you don't really have that sort of problem. I'm trying to think. So I've been the only borough I haven't been to in New York is Staten Island. I haven't taken the boat over, but every other borough I've been to, either driven through or subway. So there's not a lot of those passovers, and I'm not sure how many you would know more than me about Philadelphia, Angel, but the signs are clear. The signs are clear. It's just, if you're a driver of a truck like that, have some alternate routes ready. In fact, usually, I think the Waze app would even tell you, because it'll say potential warning. It'll actually say that. It'll come on and say warning. Amongst other things. It says, so I don't know. To me, there's your signs. It's so stupid. Speaking of stupid, Meter has a great non-stupid tweet, which I love. It says, memo to all aspiring sports update anchors. I'm begging you to stop reporting sports news, which happened 20 hours ago. No need to tell the audience Matthew Judon was traded. We know it happened. And let's move on to another story that may have happened today. Now, I agree. And that's where SportsCenter is so guilty. They will keep running shit for, 36 hours. It's like, enough already. In this day and age, enough already. The Judon thing is done. The story with the Falcons is about them signing Justin Simmons yesterday. That's the story. And that happened at 4:20 yesterday afternoon. So, I mean, that's the Judon thing is over and done with. Yeah. Okay, speaking of, we'll get to some NFL stuff in a second. Got some good stuff from my buddy Mike Petraglia on Joey Burrow with the Bengals. But I do want to continue to make fun of people today because that's the kind of mood I'm in. It's just crazy. Okay, here's some. This is great. We'll get to a baseball rundown. I'm just going to go in order here, Angel. Make it easier for you. We got a lot of funny videos today. Here's another one. I saw this play. The second one down right after our Haktua girl. This happened yesterday in the San Francisco Braves game. Check this out. And Mike Krukow and Dwayne Kuiper, the announcers in this. Listen to this. This is awful. Not the announcing, the call. Go ahead. This is good stuff.
One more look. A little shove throw that goes high, comes back down on the bag. Now the exchange drops the ball. He's out. Jeremy Riggs is the umpire at second base who made the call. Come on, boys. This one should not take time.
Yeah, I was going to say it. The longer it takes, the more worried you get.
Well, yeah, the longer it takes, the more they overthink it. Bob Melvin's wondering why it's taking so much time, too.
I don't blame him.
Well, he knows how big this play is. Once he turns the glove over and he's going to his right hand. All right, here we go.
After review, the call on the field stands. Runner is safe. San Francisco loses their kicker.
That's unbelievably bad.
That's a terrible call.
So Marvin Hudson and Adrian Johnson Cruz wake up. Brutal.
Here's Ozuna.
Here's Ozuna.
And he takes a strike.
Watch the reaction from Bob Melvin and Brian Price. They can't believe it. This should have been automatic. Joke.
By the way, the Giants went on to win the game 6-0, so it didn't really affect the outcome. But just another botched, boneheaded call in Major League Baseball.
Yep.
And those guys are right. Mike and Dwayne were absolutely correct. What the on the transfer it happened, it's just stupid, ridiculous. All right, continuing to make fun of people. Let's see. Well, I'm just going to write in a row down here because there's just so many videos I want to play. Okay, let's go to this is Randy Scott on Aaron Rodgers on First Take the other day, because they allowed Randy Scott and Gary Struski, two younger guys who do a good job on SportsCenter. A couple guys that I've known a little bit from Nesson. Don't know them all that well, but they're funny guys. I used to make fun of Struski's hair all the time in Boston because there used to be so much mousse in it. It was crazy. But he's cleaned up his act a little bit on SportsCenter. But here's Randy Scott on Aaron Rodgers. And I don't think he's all that wrong. But Stephen A., because he's trying to make these guys look bad, is looking at him like they're crazy. And Stephen A. has had his own ridiculous. When you listen to Stephen A. talk about the Dallas Cowboys, you just take it with a grain of salt because it's laughable how unobjectionable he can be, even though sometimes it's okay because of Jerry Jones and the Dak Prescott situation and the CeeDee Lamb situation. But watch Stephen A.'s face when Randy Scott's talking about Aaron Rodgers.
And he's on the wrong side of 40. As somebody who's been through a midlife crisis, and I got 4 tattoos to show for it, this man's midlife crisis is ayahuasca, Egypt trips, and sparring with his head coach in the media in the biggest city in the world.
That doesn't sound like a midlife crisis to me. That's number one.
Sound like a good time. You can't fault that. It sounds like picture acting. It sounds like
who's running SportsCenter?
Really? 4 tattoos?
I mean, there's something going on.
What's the best one?
There's something going on. I got to talk to the bosses, the SportsCenter. What's going on? They get y'all up too early? They let y'all go to sleep too late? What the hell is up?
Geo coordinates. And he's on the wrong side of 40.
See, I don't know what Stephen A. is implying there, that, they don't do a good job on SportsCenter. I don't know. Pretty condescending, Stephen A., if the way I took it. I know he's kind of half joking, but I also think he's half serious. Why? There's a lot of people that think that way about Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
They're not talking out of school. I mean, I think it's an interesting take. I love Struski's response about a midlife crisis. He says it sounds like a good time, But anyway, so that's just Stephen A. being Stephen A. Just why click. And finally, I think before we go to break, we'll do this. When we come back at 8 o'clock, I promise we'll get to all the NFL camp news courtesy of Total Sports Prep. But just a couple more down. Under Oil London's news contributor. This is breakdancer Reagan. This is where, get this ready, you might shed a tear. The Australian, whatever you want to call it that she did, I call it, it looked like something that Elaine from Seinfeld would do at a Christmas party. But here is Reagan from Australia, where her own country is investigating her, how she even got to the Olympics, says to stop picking on her.
Hi, everyone. Reagan here.
Hi.
I just want to start by thanking all the people who have supported me. I really appreciate the positivity, and I'm glad I was able to bring some joy into your lives. That's what I hoped. I didn't realize that would also open the door to so much hate, which has frankly been pretty devastating. Well, I went out there and I had fun. I did take it very seriously. I worked my butt off preparing for the Olympics, and I gave my all, truly. I'm honoured to have been a part of the Australian Olympic team and to be part of Breaking's Olympic debut. What the other athletes have achieved has just been phenomenal. In regards to the allegations and misinformation floating around, I'd like to ask everyone to please refer to the recent statement made by the AOC, as well as the posts on the Ozbreaking Instagram page, as well as the WDSF Breaking for Gold page. Bit of a fun fact for you. There are actually no points in breaking. If you want to see how the judges thought I compared to my opponents, you can actually see the comparison percentages across the 5 criteria on Olympics.com. All the results are there. I'm going to be in Europe for a few weeks for some pre-planned downtime, but I'd really like to ask the press to please stop harassing my family, my friends, the Australian breaking community, and the broader street dance community. Everyone has been through a lot as a result of this, so I ask you to please respect their privacy. I'll be happy to answer more questions on my return to Australia. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. All right.
How do you even function by saying all those fucking lies one after another? Do not ever compare yourself as an athlete. You know, that is a disrespect to real athletes like Simone Biles and so many Lyles and so many others. You are not an athlete. I don't know what you did or what you thought you were doing or how you bought your way onto this Olympics, how you got there, you and your husband with some phony baloney fucking breakdance company. That go back and what was it Breaking and then Breaking 2 that came up back in the day, Angel?
Yeah.
That was the height in the early to mid 80s of breakdancing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what you did, I don't know what you did. It was a combination of Elaine on Seinfeld and something that you were seeing on the old Gong Show. Angel, I hate to ask you to do this. Can we punch up? You did this the other day. Can we punch up what she did again? I know you had it somewhere.
Yeah.
Just so you don't think, those of you first timing, this person, this fraud. And I'm glad she's going to Europe on her down. And this is another one that probably get invited on talk shows next. If she did, like if she ever went on any of the late night talk shows, she would be smart, at least in America, not to do it. She would get booed off the stage. Can you imagine picture her going on American Idol and Simon looking at her. How would she even get through her routine before they said, just stop. You're wasting time here. This is an abomination. The fact that this is even allowed in the Olympics is absurd. And when you have it, let me know. Go ahead. You can punch it up anytime you want. But this was her Olympic routine, correct?
Yeah, it was her Olympic routine, and someone else put out something out there. Let me go back to see if I can find the original one, because they're starting to take a lot of this stuff down, which makes absolutely no sense. How do you have it up there and then all of a sudden you decide to take it down because a lot of it's been taken down? This is ridiculous. Talking about scrubbing life. Hang on, I'm trying to find some more here.
Well, you played it the other day, so maybe I don't know if it's still stored in whatever little system we have here.
Because I played the other day. If the same way, like that's the same place where I'm looking at it from the other day is where they've taken. Wow.
Well, maybe we'll take a break, come back. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. We can play it off that as well, because I really want people. I'm scrolling down to it to see if we have it somewhere. If I see it, I will.
Well, as they change history, I'm pretty sure someone went in there and told them to scrub her out, and no pun intended on that one. But it doesn't make any freaking.
Let me see it.
Let me try one more place here. It's beyond ridiculous.
I'm trying to see if the guy who posted it. No, I don't. It's got to be up. Let's take a break. We'll find it. Let's take a quick break and we'll find it. Spalding says I was dancing to that Jimmy's commercial. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Jimmy the Beef Guy. Yeah. Exactly. All right, let's take a quick break, Angel. When we come back, I promise we'll find it. We'll find it for you and play.
Hold on. Here's a halfway kind of one here. It's not the obviously the full routine, but it's the beginning part.
But it's at the Olympics. Okay.
Yeah. Here we go.
Oh my God. That is so bad.
Yeah. It's just not breaking. I'm sorry.
Is this a Three Stooges clip?
That was
I mean, you get the. I mean, we don't have to play it. That's certainly enough. But I mean, that's all you have. That's all you have to see. I mean, you got to be kidding me. We saw kids. Can you imagine all the kids that we know back in the day, white, black, Latino, that doesn't matter what color you are, what race you are. I saw that on the streets. I saw that in junior high. I saw it in the movies. People do what was considered 100,000 times better than that. There's an episode of The Cosby Show when it was watchable, where anyway, the kids weren't allowed to go to some concerts. So anyway, Cliff and Claire are having a dinner engagement with a couple that is ballroom dancing champions. Anyway, they move the couch out of the way, and they the old Cosby Show living room, and they start to do like ballroom dancing. It was pretty cool the way they do it. And then Theo, this was like 1983, starts to breakdance. Pretty good too. Malcolm Jamal Warner, right? He started to breakdance. Did a really good job. I'll never forget it. It did an excellent job. My favorite breakdancing story comes from Austria. You're going to look at me like, huh? I was fortunate enough in my senior year to go on a ski trip to Austria and Switzerland with my fellow classmates, not just seniors, but underclassmen. From Bishop Hendricken High School. And it was an unbelievable trip for skiing and sightseeing. Absolutely incredible. But one of the memories that I and other seniors have is this junior, I forget his name, but I want to say Mark. I think his name was Mark. I can't remember. So we're in this nightclub, and I think I was drinking at the time gin fizzes. I wasn't a drinker back then. I wasn't one of those that drank in high school. But you're in, I was 18 years old. We're in Europe, and it was one of the last nights, and we got to stay out, fairly late after midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. And good music, dancing. We're dancing with these girls from New Jersey, from Austria. We're having a good time. And this kid, Mark, the underclass, the junior, wants to show off. This is, again, 1985, the height of, breakdancing. So he starts to do his routine on the floor, and people are clapping, getting out of the way. He's doing a good thing. He's doing like a decent thing. I've never seen him. I didn't know the kid till we talked a little bit on the plane going over. Anyway, he starts doing his routine, and then goes to spinning on his head, which he did a great job at, spinning on his head, right up until the part where from here to here had splinters from the floor go into his head and let out a scream. Meanwhile, I and other seniors are laughing our asses off watching this kid. And then it started to bleed a little bit. He still kept doing it, which added more splinters. So then he comes and sits back down, and my other friend of mine, for the next half hour with a couple of Kleenexes, and we got I think we ordered a shot of something just for out so we could dip the Kleenex or the napkin in to, sterilize his head. Meanwhile, my friend just started picking out the splinters from his head. And I am just laughing my head off. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely hysterical. But that's like one of my famous breakdancing memories is that. And stupid underclassmen. He was actually doing a good routine. But the fact that the splinter started to go in and he still kept doing it.
Yeah, at that point, you got to learn how to call it quits.
Crazy stuff. All right, quick break. When we come back, more NFL sound. The Red Sox report brought to you by Moynihan Lumber, which I forgot to do yesterday because Rick Horrow interrupted us. at 8 o'clock with his first check-in. But no, I'm just being facetious. But we'll get to the Red Sox report today. They lost another one last night in Baltimore because Baltimore's a good team and they don't beat good teams. So, but we'll recap it for you anyway and have another MLB rundown. Then Jerry Thornton from Barstool Sports will join me at the bottom of the hour. And I can't wait to find out if he, along with me, if you've seen, because Twisters, as I said yesterday, Twisters is already out on Apple and whatever other apps that you have, you can watch it, that stupid remake. I started to watch it only as an experiment the other day. And it's the first time in my life I've rooted for weather. And I rooted for the tornado because the acting was so horrible in the first 10 minutes. I wanted the tornado to, wipe up, suck up all these bad actors into the Twister. And it happened. It's a different premise than the first movie. It's different, same kind of premise, Storm Chasers. It's not the same thing where you saw Helen Hunt as a young child, and the F5 sucked her dad into it. That's not it. This was much better. This was much better because it sucked away all the horrible actors in the first 10 minutes. It was beautiful. I have to finish watching it at some point. I will. I've never rooted for the bad guy in the movies or a storm, but I rooted for the tornado in this movie, and I was happily obliged the first 10 minutes. So hopefully you will be too, because the acting is freaking pathetic. Anyway, quick break. When we come back, more nonsense here on the Pete Shepard Show on a Friday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Chicken and Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Eye on Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Eye on Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Eye on Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Pete Shepherd Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Yeah, speaking of dysfunctional, excuse me, I'm all choked up about it. The Red Sox were dysfunctional again last night. Overall, could not get anything going, losing to the Orioles 5-1. We'll get to the Red Sox report in a second. The other big news really yesterday in the NFL was Milano going down for the Buffalo Bills. That is awful. With bicep injuries, one of the best players in the league. And he's going to be out indefinitely, which sounds an awful lot like at least a couple of months to me. So, once again, a big-time player going down in the NFL. And as soon as I saw it yesterday, just like, oh, my God, if you're a Bills fan, you got to be – just like I know you're not going to get a lot of sympathy from Vikings fans because they've been through enough as well. But that was pretty big yesterday, Matt Milano going down with the bicep injury. In fact, Angel, if we could – if I may impose upon you to go to ESPN's and on NFL, or on ESPN, NFL, and scroll down to the Matt Milano story, and then it is the reaction from Pat McAfee yesterday as well. Head coach Sean McDermott said he tore his biceps and he'll have to undergo surgery. He'll hopefully be back, according to reports, in December. That's what people told Adam Schefter. I don't know if you see it, Angel. It's on the NFL page on ESPN. It's the last story, but it was really the lead for most of the day yesterday. If you're following the world of sports, Matt Milano going down with a bicep injury. Just awful news for Buffalo Bills fans. And I know my friends up in New England know him well because he's one of the best linebackers to ever come out of Boston College. Luke Kuechly, another one as well. I mean, there's a lot of good players that actually have come out of Boston College. From the 70s up until now. You don't hear about a lot of them. A lot of them are offensive linemen, defensive line, but you've heard of the Kuechlys. You've heard of the Matt Milanos. Of course, you've heard of Doug Flutie and a lot of others that have made the NFL, tight ends, offensive linemen, defensive linemen. But this was got to be pretty devastating if you're a Bills fan that he might not be back until December. So you see it, Angel?
I'm still scrolling through here.
It's on the NFL part of ESPN. It's the last story down there. It says Bills linebacker Milano suffers torn biceps. This the lead story, which shouldn't be, Jim Harbaugh talking about Colin Kaepernick, that he will not be a coach with the Chargers. But I mean, that's Good. Good to not have that distraction on your team as well. It's for Jim Harbaugh. So you see it, Angel?
It's doing its commercial thing.
Oh, okay. All right. But I figured we'd play this, and we'll get to the Red Sox report and MLB rundown, and then Jerry Thornton will join us at the bottom of the hour from Barstool Sports. Always fun conversations with Jerry. I'm sure I know he was at the Patriots game last night. I believe he was. So we'll get his thoughts. And we heard Christopher Price earlier, which was really good. Gave, I think, an honest synopsis of what it was. Some good, some bad, some ugly. But the big thing is that Drake May played pretty well last night, I thought. I thought he played pretty well. And that's been the general overall assessment. When you're ready, Angel.
Yep. As soon as I do the switch over. All right.
Matt Milano.
No.
Paisano.
One of us. No way.
Yeah, injured last year, obviously, and then injured at camp, I believe, torn bicep. Torn bicep. Yeah, ESPN sources Bills Pro Bowl linebacker Matt Milano, who left Tuesday's practice injured, tore his bicep. Now be out indefinitely. Milano will undergo surgery on his torn bicep with the hope of trying to return later this season, possibly in December. Now, obviously, January is playoff football, so December would be the last couple weeks of the season, even in the extended season. Milano was hurt last year?
Yeah, he got badly hurt.
Yeah, and they missed him.
Yeah, big time.
They missed him mightily. And now in training camp, he's out indefinitely until potentially December. Godspeed, Paisan. Yeah, that sucks.
I mean, Sal Capaccio legitimately came on here and was like, I don't want to harp on one guy, but it is so nice to see Matt Milano back on the field for the Buffalo Bills. That does blow.
All-Pro Poe to Miami. Veteran leadership, obviously, in the back. He's gone.
Yep.
A lot of people gone from that locker room.
Micah Hyde
also. They were there for like 10 years together, gone. Milano was a veteran leader. Great piece to get back. Man, that sucks, dude.
Yeah, that's a big blow. Yeah, because they let Tremaine Edmonds go to the Bears because they were like, hey, we still have Matt Milano.
Yeah, they did not have a lot of depth at linebacker in the playoffs at all.
Yeah, and that was literally they signed a guy like a week before who was playing. No, might have been the Steelers against the Bills. Who did the Steelers sign 4 days before the game?
Jaguars, great.
Miles Jack.
Jack.
Yeah, sorry, it wasn't the Bills. I apologize, but that did happen.
Yes.
And the other, yeah, the other part of this. This happens all the time. It wasn't even in the game or something that happened in the preseason a few days earlier. He was just participating normally in Tuesday's practice, suffered the injury during the team's individual drill period, working on a tackling drill. He tackled a bag and hit his arm on it, and also, quote, maybe on somebody's leg just a little bit, unquote, per Coach McDermott. He then received attention from trainers and remained at practice with the team, but he did not participate in any more drills that he normally would. See, and that's what I think devastates most fans and fans of whatever team you're rooting for in the NFL when this kind of stuff happens. Not that it's acceptable at any time, but at least you can, if it happens in a game, you can see it, you understand it. When it happens during a tackling drill that you hit a tackling bag and hit the arm on it and maybe hit somebody's leg a little bit, wow, that sucks. I mean, it sucks it really double sucks that you're out. That's awful. And that's terrible. Great coverage linebacker, as everybody knows. He has his share of injury problems. We all know that. But that just to not hurt it in a game and hurt it on a tackling dummy, Jesus, that really stinks. All right, Angel, if I impose upon you, go to Total Sports Prep and scroll to the Red Sox lowlights and the Baltimore highlights. If we get to that in the Orioles 5-1 win, the Red Sox, if we could play the last cut when you get to it, Wilmer Abreu got things going for the Red Sox in a scoreless game in the top of the fourth. Things were looking pretty good. Nesson has
He's flipped it around a little bit.
Swinging a drive, right field. That's deep. That is way, way back there. She is gone. Home run. Wilyer Abreu for the 14th time. And his second time in as many days. And jacks one out of here at Camden Yards to make it 1-0.
As I mentioned, second time through,
this lineup against righties does a really good job going to school. That curveball, again, that's been so effective.
All right, thanks to Dave O'Brien and Lou Merloni. The Red Sox Report, by the way, brought to you by Moynihan Lumber. Check out their complete line of Anderson windows and doors at any of their 3 locations in Beverly and North Reading, Massachusetts, and Plastown, New Hampshire. Now, if we get to cut number 3, 1-0 lead for the Red Sox. Didn't last that long because in the bottom of that same inning, Gunnar Henderson did the Red Sox in, essentially.
Santander. How about this for an advancement? Right field, flag card bound. Back-to-back games with a home run for Gunnar. And the Orioles are in front just like that. Not much for hang time these days, are you, Gunnar Henderson?
Well, not on that hanger. Boy, the irony, here we are in the 4th, 2 home runs, both of them on curveballs.
Yep, and cut number 1, Angel, if we could, after that, by the way, that bomb by Henderson, 403 feet, that was a blind shot, and then Mullins in the bottom of the 5th inning pretty much finished off the Red Sox.
And Mullins to right field. That ball is going to be off the top, over the top of the wall. That's a home run for Mullins.
Yep,
it hit that little railing.
Yeah, if it gets over that green cushion, of course, they won't know the ground rule. The only thing that matters is the umpire, but there's another curveball. And there's another rocket.
Yep, of course, the last 2 cuts were not NESN, and that was MASN, which is the Mid-Atlantic Sports Network, obviously the Orioles' home team, announcing team. And Baltimore went on to win 5-1. Colton Cowser had an RBI double back in the bottom of the 7th. So basically, Zach Eflin pitched in very impressive innings to improve to 4-0 since joining the Orioles. And Gunnar Henderson, as you heard, Cedric Mullins homered in the Orioles' 5-1 win. Eflin has won all 4 starts since Baltimore acquired him from Tampa before the trade deadline. He allowed a run and 5 hits, striking out a season-high 8 without a walk. The Orioles pulled in a first-place tie with the idle Yankees atop the American League East. The Red Sox remain now 8 games behind. Nick Pivetta allowed 3 runs and 3 hits in 5 innings, struck out 6, walked 1. 2 of his hits he yielded were homers, though, as you heard. So Red Sox lose 5-1. They're now 63-57. They are 2.5 games now behind the Kansas City Royals for that final spot. The Red Sox did send infielder Jamie Westbrook outright to AAA Worcester, and the Orioles recalled infielder Levan Soto from AAA Norfolk and optioned infielder Kobe Mayonnaise to Norfolk. Masasaka Yoshida was hit around the back of his right shoulder by Gregory Soto's first pitch in the 7th, but he remained in the game. Coming up today, Cooper Criswell, who's 4-4, the 4.02 ERA, will be the starter tonight for the Red Sox. He will go up against Corbin Burns, who's 12-4, 2.71 ERA. How the Brewers let him go, I have no idea. He takes the mound for the Orioles tonight, which I'm sure will be probably another Baltimore win and another Red Sox loss. But anyway, there it is. The Red Sox Report is brought to you by Moynihan Lumber. Check out their complete line of Anderson windows and doors at any of their 3 locations in Beverly, North Reading, Massachusetts, and Plastow, New Hampshire. Meanwhile, some other scores yesterday around Major League Baseball. Texas jumped out to a 2-0 lead, but they lose to Minnesota 3-2. That didn't help the Red Sox either. Milwaukee over the Dodgers 6-4. And big news in that game before is that Christian Yelich to undergo season-ending back surgery there. We played you the clip earlier of the horrific umpiring in the San Francisco-Atlanta game that benefited the Braves, but it didn't matter. San Francisco still beat them by a score of 6-0. Let's give some love to Angel Martinez as Philadelphia Phillies blast the Washington Nationals yesterday. And let's see, where's a good cut? How about Nick Castellanos? One of your favorites. Cut number 1 there, right from NBC Sports Philadelphia, and the bottom of the 1st.
Castellanos sends one in the air to deep left field. He's going to go back to back. 4-0 Phillies. What a rude awakening for the Nationals here in the bottom of the 1st inning. Pretty awesome.
He's not fooling anybody.
No, he's not.
Even the out he got, Schwarber still had some really good swings. Yeah, a fastball up, and Nick, we've seen him get to those before.
Yeah, we have. We could go to play. I'm not going to play more home run. Let's go to cut number 3. And I love triples. So let's play Weston Wilson triple back in the bottom of the 4th, also from NBC Sports Philly.
Blowed the old brain.
Weston Wilson hits one in the air to right field. That's pretty well hit. Call's going back toward the wall, and it's off the top of the wall.
That's 3, baby.
Yeah, gets away. Wilson can run. He's on his way to 3rd. He stumbled a little bit.
That's it!
Self a triple. He does hit the ball hard, doesn't he?
Sure does. Castellanos, great job there. No chance for Washington that game. Philadelphia back on track at home anyway. They lost 5 in a row. Now they've won 2 in a row at home. And they clobber the Washington Nationals 13-3. Scrolling down, Angel, Detroit and Seattle. This was a pretty good game. Watched a lot of this yesterday because it was the early game. And, just watching baseball, prepping for the show. The Seattle, I almost said Seahawks. The Mariners were up 1-0 until the 8th inning. And then Javier Baez stepped up to the plate. It's from Bally Sports Detroit.
Baez always very aggressive.
Javi drills it. Deep left field. Arozarena at the wall. Javi Baez gives the Tigers the lead out of nowhere. The first hit against Munoz since the 4th of July is fireworks at Comerica Park.
Yep. Detroit wins 2-1. Meanwhile, Angel, let me see. The last cut. Oakland came from 5-0 down to beat the Mets 7-6. That's not the story, but let's go to cut number 3. Mets announcer Sal Licata rants on the Mets having the hot tour girl, Haley Welch, throw out the first pitch. This is from WFAN Sports Radio 66 in New York.
The Yankees have Aaron Judge and Juan Soto breaking records. Ruth, Mantle, Gehrig, and the Mets have Grimace and now Hactua. Come on, bro. I can't take it. I cannot take it anymore. It's ridiculous. And then you wonder why fans get so ticked off and upset. It's embarrassing. Is it the biggest deal in the world? No, absolutely. Does it mean anything on the field? No. But that's the problem. The product on the field isn't good enough, and you're coming up with these silly gimmicks that are laughing stock. It's a joke. Hactua.
I think I just want to talk about this the rest of the show.
Yeah, Mets lose a really tough game yesterday. And by the way, the Mets are 2 games behind the Braves for that final wild card spot. So that was a huge loss yesterday at Citi Field for the Mets. Terrible, about 5-0 and blowing a lead. The big blow was J.J. Bleday's grand slam at the top of the 4th that made it a 5-4 Mets, and then they ended up going ahead. All right, so there you have it. So see, I'm not the only one outraged by the Hactua girl. We'll get Jerry Thornton's thoughts on that and a whole lot more because he's coming up next on Barstool Sports from Barstool Sports right here on the Pete Shepard Show as we continue here on a Friday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our 2nd location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are. Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so
interesting.
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Shepherd Show.
All right, back here on the Pete Shepherd Show. It is Friday. I'm not spazzing out due to the Patriots' loss. I was spazzing out in a good way for Drake May. I think last night kind of is going to be like a microcosm for the Patriots season. The good, the bad, and some ugly against 2s and 3s. And that's what I've just I've mentally prepared myself for a 4-win season, maybe 5 if somebody fumbles in the end zone for the other team. But I just want to see a progression of Drake May, at least for for a quarter anyway. Drake May, I thought overall looked pretty good, probably even better than the completion percentage shows because a couple of drops. But joining me now, I believe he was there last night. I think Jerry Thornton from Barstool Sports. Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Pete. It's always a pleasure to join you. And as far as them losing, like if it's up to me in preseason, they just turn the scoreboard off except for the clock. Like it really, it's totally irrelevant. By the way, credit where it's due to Philly for going for 2 because you don't want overtime. It's like the last thing you want. You know what I mean? Let's just,
Well, they played overtime. I don't even know if they even play overtime in exhibition season anymore. I don't even know if they do that.
If they do, then by all means they should not. Because by then, both teams fill in the field with guys who are going to be working at like Lowe's next week. More power to them. No shame in being a working man and paying your bills.
Thank God Bailey Zappi came in for that final series because, that's exactly what I wanted to see. Try to have him try to lead them down the field for a potential game-winning field goal with 2:24 to go. I don't get it why you put Bailey Zappi in there on that. I mean, there's a lot of other things to dissect and analyze in this game a little bit, but that's another. I don't understand Gerard Mayo putting him in for that last series. That made no sense to me.
Still, though, this game was how I think every fan wanted to see the playing time divvied up. You should have been in Gillette last week when Brissett plays one series, May plays one series. People are going nuts when May comes in. And as people are sitting through a rainstorm, like they've come all this way to sit out in the rain, and then May plays 6 snaps, and then the next thing you see is Bailey Zappi coming off the bench, and people booed. And listen, I got nothing against Bailey Zappi. He's one of God's creatures too. He's loved by all. But like, we got so far out over our skis on this guy. And when you see him on a practice field, standing near Brissett and between the twin towers that are May and Joe Milton. This guy, he looks like he's just like some kid who won a contest to come out on the field and throw some balls.
Tall version of Doug Flutie.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So last night, giving May more than a quarter to play, that's exactly what we all wanted to see. And did he look like a Pro Bowler? No one's looking for that right now. What he looked like, though, did a reasonable impression of a quarterback one, which I'm not even asking that he be right away. Like, I'm fine with bringing him along slow. But in the meantime, when he's finally getting to face contact, which he hasn't been able to do, he's got the red jersey in practice, whatever, his athleticism stands out. Seeing him slip tackles, seeing him avoid tackles. That touchdown run was just a beautifully executed outside zone run. Where, he reads the unblocked defensive end. He took the cheese on an inside run, and May went around the edge. In practice, that looks like a broken play. Because we don't know any better. We don't know what it was designed to do. This time it was he read it, he knew it, he did exactly the right thing. He's got wheels, he's tough to tackle, which a lot of the teams that make it deep into the playoffs now have that kind of guy, and we haven't had.
Oh, no question. And nobody got really hurt in the game. What's his name? Got banged up a little bit, but he's okay. So luckily for the Patriots, they come out of that unscathed, which is the biggest thing. I wanted to get the Judon deal is old news. Meter tweeted out, it's like, stop having people on ESPN talk about, basically he's talking about ESPN about not, stop talking about stories that are more than like 36 hours old. I think it ends up being a good deal for the Patriots, and it ends up being, I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, and they just have to kind of come to a conclusion. This is just going to be one of those. It's going to be a rebuilding year. You got 4 of the top 100 picks coming your way next year and a bunch of salary cap space. However, I get the skepticism because you had a lot of salary cap case this year. You re-signed a bunch of, okay players. So I don't know. I wanted your gut feeling on, the direction of this franchise. How much faith do you have that they're going to get, back to competing seriously before we talk about Super Bowls and playoffs?
Yeah, I'm prepared for it to be a slow build, which is fine as long as you're doing it right. We can talk about how, they're drilling down too deep into the Judon thing. Another thing I need us all to stop doing is every time there's some wide receiver in the league who's unhappy with his contract, stop linking him to the Patriots. Oh, yeah, well, forget Brandon Ayuk. They're just going to have to give up their second rounder next year. Who was the latest? Was where there's talk of like giving up multiple picks to get another guy who's going to cost us $35 million. And it's like just stop. In carpentry terms, I'm all about measuring twice so you cut once instead of measuring twice, measuring once and cutting twice.
Look at you being all Jesus.
Yeah, that's exactly right. My favorite carpenter of all time.
Absolutely.
The only carpenter who ever did a good job for me, saving my soul. Hopefully, I'm working on that.
Me too.
And so I'm fine with being patient and doing it right. And as far as Judon goes, real quick, he turned 32 yesterday. Happy birthday! You're out of here now. When which tends to be for edge rushers and for pass rushers in general, the time to take old Yeller out back behind the barn. I'm sorry, but J.J. Watt retired at 32. Aaron Donald after last year at 33. And there have been many such examples. He turned 32. He wants a ton of money. I hope he gets it. I can see them saying it's a bad investment. Much as we love the guy, as much as he's a fan favorite and a high energy guy and a 3-down player and the best Patriot player since Tom Brady left, hands down. But, it just, they managed to get, when they were in a position of desperation, they still somehow managed to get a 3rd-round pick out of Atlanta, which last year their 3rd-round pick was 74th. I think that's a pretty good haul when you're dealing from a position of weakness as they were.
But they're desperate.
32-year-old guy. Yeah.
But Atlanta's desperate on defense. I mean, they just signed Simmons, so now they got a pretty good, two all-pro safeties back there. And you get Judon if he stays reasonably healthy, because they had to. Right? It made no sense to me why they drafted Michael Penix Jr. over there without addressing that horrific defense that they had last season. It was terrible. Like Kirk Cousins, I thought before all these signings were going to have to put up 40 just to be in games because the Falcons defense is bad. But now the Falcons defense, with the signing of Judon and Simmons and what they have, I mean, it's a lot better than it was for them a couple of weeks ago. But
yeah, and if you're a Pats fan and you're worried about their front seven without Judon, I'm with you. You're leaving a big hole there. But they certainly stepped up last night. They had 5 sacks.
4 on Pickett alone.
Yep, the guy that really looks like he's ready to step up and help fill that gap with Judon, although he's an interior and an outside player, is Keon White, who really impressed as a rookie. He absolutely blew by a tackle who was in a full back pedal at the snap, absolutely trying to get back there and set an edge. And Keon went right by him. So he plays with a mean streak, which I love. I think he's a tone setter. You also got Dedrick Wise Jr., who I never really saw as much of a player, and I didn't understand why they gave him an extension. And he's more than lived up to it, like the confidence they put in him. So
I always liked him. I thought he was underappreciated for a lot of games last year because of the record and everything. But I thought I've always sort of liked him.
Yeah, he had every reason to. I didn't see it until like last year. And I was surprised they gave him the contract because he didn't seem like he had really turned up much. But I'm happy to be wrong on that. So, the defense still looks solid. Again, it's only an impression. It's not a conclusion. We don't really know, how deep into the depth chart that the Eagles got last night. But listen, so far, the Pats look like they're progressing. And they certainly look better than they did at joint practices on Tuesday, where it looked like the sky was falling and every media guy in Boston was pleasuring themselves like a bonobo monkey at the disaster that we were preparing for. Oh, they were so giddy on all the talk shows.
I saw it but it started off great, right? Drake May 9 of 9 out of the chute, and then a Dingleberry City after that.
Yeah, 3 sacks and 4 plays and failing in the red zone and the 2-minute drill blowing up and a sack and another sack and a missed fumble, whatever. They looked like they belonged last night, despite having some protection problems that I think is just going to be a major story all year long. They really never addressed the tackle position, and I think they're going to pay a price for it, but we'll see. Maybe it's just one of these things where they need time to gel, but for now, so far, so good.
Let's pivot to the Red Sox a little bit. It's the beginning of the end when Paxton went down for me, and they can't beat any good teams on the whole, except for the Yankees in New York. It's over. I've come to that conclusion. I'm still hanging around. One more month with the baseball package before I cut the cord. But hanging around last night, Eflin was fantastic. Red Sox can't get out of their own way sometimes. It's just you can just see the boom. I think they're going to get swept with this series. I don't think they're going to win tonight. I don't think they're going to win tomorrow either, or the weekend. I think it's the beginning of the end. We've been kind of living off smoke and mirrors here a little bit. They've been fun and exciting to watch, but I hate to say it, it's over. But until they're at least 8 games behind, I'll probably still keep watching here and there.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And first of all, it's a likable team. What we thought was going to be just a ugly enough to be a modern art masterpiece. They overachieved for a long period of time, but we've seen our entire lives of watching a season that goes 6 months that everything reverts to the mean. You know what I mean? Bad teams will have look great for a while. Good teams will look terrible. The Yankees went through a streak like that, but they're loaded with talent. The Red Sox have been, their reach has been way higher than I thought it would be, but now they're becoming what we knew they would be all along, what we expected. So that's all it is. It's just sometimes, sometimes a dumb kid can get good grades for a while, but eventually he's gonna get the grades that you expect.
Because he's writing it on the desk.
Yeah, exactly. And look, that's the real drag about this is that when the season began and players on this roster were speaking out and just going, well, we needed to have more talent, which is a rare thing for any major leaguer to admit, any athlete really. And Red Sox players were openly saying it. Well, they still banded together. They played their asses off. They stuck together. There was no finger pointing or whatever. They overachieved for a long time. But, we're almost to September. And I think when we get to the end of the season, the record's going to look very much like we thought it was going to be at the beginning of the year. And that's on ownership. Because John Henry, who's now trying to buy the Celtics, according to all published reports.
I know. Please, no.
Right, exactly. This is a guy who, is...
Beetlejuice.
Yeah. He's printing money over there. Yeah, I've seen his yacht. It's often anchored moored in the middle of Boston's inner harbor. It costs more than the town I live in total. And I'm supposed to worry about him not paying a luxury tax. Well, congratulations. You're not paying a luxury tax. People are still turning out because they like this team in spite of the ownership. It just gets really hard when they're just sitting there and making this, that they can afford to be better. Mm-hmm. They've made a choice not to be better and just, ride it along. Just continue to drain that reservoir of fan loyalty to this team without putting out a good product. It's just great. Your team is likable. They get the participation trophy for that, right? They get the baseball equivalent of the Miss Congeniality Award, but they're not going to win the pageant. So good for you.
All right, the next few topics here are not really sports related. Although actually a couple kind of are, but I have to ask you, I retweeted it this morning. You probably saw it. And being the great comedian that you are, one of Bill Engel's great bits that he does at the end of his stuff is always, there's your sign. It's like I said to Angel, if I hold up this bottle of purple Powerade and you say, is that a purple drink? Yep. I'm like, no. And he makes a, so yeah. One of his favorite ones is, it happened again this morning on Storrow Drive. I tweeted it out from Channel 5. Did you see this? Right before the Fenway Kenmore Square exit. You know what I'm talking about.
As soon as you said Storrow Drive, I haven't seen the story, but I think I know exactly where we're going with this.
Tell me where you think we're going.
It's college moving van season in Boston, right?
Yes.
And so did someone get a truck stuck under one of the overpasses?
Not only stuck, Jerry, flipped. And that means he was really speeding. Usually they just get stuck and jam it under there, right before right around the Kenmore Fenway exit. But this guy had to be speeding, or person was speeding, and the truck actually not only got stuck, but flipped over on its side, on the passenger side. What a bunch of, the signs are all there, well in advance. Why does this continue? Why are people this stupid?
Mid-August in Boston means certain things. It means Spirit Halloween stores are going to pop up in every empty storefront. The pumpkin spice stuff is going to come out. You'll see Halloween candy and this. Last year around this time, one of my sons who was in visiting with his girlfriend, we took them into Boston, went into the public garden, decided to show her like Harvard. And as we're coming around through Storrow Drive, on the other side from where we were, there was a truck with a huge moving truck, and the top had been peeled off like you're opening a can of Spam. And it was like, I said, I couldn't give you a better introduction to our culture. Here we are. And again, there are signs hanging at every single entrance to that street that shows you exactly how high the overpass is going to be. And it slams off the top of your truck and people just go, I don't know what that was, but I'm just going to keep on going. It never fails.
The only school that gets let off the hook because it's a little bit 5 miles outside of Boston is Boston College. See, but BC kids are smart. It doesn't happen because you don't have to take that route. You just, you can get off the highway. But you're talking about Harvard, MIT, Northeastern, BU, and a lot of, Emerson. I mean, there's a lot of schools in Boston, Suffolk Law. I mean, there's just a lot in a very condensed area. So yes, this time of year, it's crazy. But this person had to be speeding. Usually they just get stuck. Yeah. You usually don't see them flip over. But
yeah, I need someone to do a study of how many people that are running the government, the Supreme Court, the economy, the Department of Defense, how many people are making huge decisions in this country who also had the top peel off their moving van because they're too dumb to read a sign as they go in. And I'm a big advocate of when there's a sign and no one's reading it, you have to put up another sign that says, read this sign. And do that as many times as you need.
Yes. Yeah. The Hawk Tour girl, Haley Welch, throws out the first pitch yesterday to some other, I don't know, blonde, whatever that was, whatever she is, whatever. I don't know what she was representing or whatever. I still don't know if it was a chair. Regardless, it was an embarrassing moment. So what was more embarrassing, that one, or have you seen Australian breakdancer Reagan break down from us? I retweeted it. She's begging people not to make fun of her anymore. And as well as I do, Jerry, we knew kids, and maybe yourself, you're nimble back in the day. I don't know what she did or how she got to the Olympics. I know she's under investigation by her home country, Australia. I don't know what that was, but any 5-year-old could probably have done what she did. And I'm just wondering, back in the day, you could have done that. I could have done that, back in the day. What's the better story from a comedian standpoint, that or the Haktua girl?
Oh, I can honestly tell you, as someone who blogs every day and looks for the odd stuff, the peculiar stuff. There's no part of our job at Barstool to look and go, wow, look at Simone Biles. She's just amazing. What a fantastic job she did. It's to look at the weird offbeat stuff. Hawk to a girl, her fame should have lasted about 24 hours. Somehow it's continuing. I don't get it. The real joy of this is watching Mets fans' reactions because they're so disgusted with the team itself and they're screaming into microphones. What is that? They're watching Aaron Judge set home run records and RBI records or whatever. And then they look at their own team and they had Grimace from McDonaldland throw out the first pitch. Right? They've got an infielder who's got a song that they sing and play and whatever. And then they got Hawk to a girl.
How do you explain that, Jerry? How do you explain that to little Sally and little Tommy in the stands? Hey, here's whatever her name is, Haley, whatever. Hey, Mommy, who's that? Well, she got famous by somebody going up to a microphone and she pretended it was a penis and spit at it.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you explain that to young kids? And how does Major League Baseball even allow it? How do the Mets allow it?
Right. You're a girl dad. You're sitting there going, ladies, someday if you get on microphone and you describe your oral method that keeps men interested in you, someday you too can be famous. Look, 3 weeks ago, she was introduced at a country concert to what can only be described as indifference.
Yes.
Not even a smattering of applause. People just and here she is. And it was just dead silence. So 3 weeks later, the Mets go, hey, you know what would really be good for business? Anyway, so
a day game. Maybe it's a day game.
Yes. Now, as far as Ray Gunn, she has been a gift from the Olympic gods to bloggers. It's just, and I'm just leaning into it. First of all, breakdancing, the sport of kings. Thank you that the Olympic Committee for finally giving us the sport that we need, where it basically typically 14-year-olds, most competitors in this sport look like they haven't even taken the exam for their learner's permit yet. and they walk around the stage giving each other like stink eye, like it's an episode of MTV's Yo Mama, right? And then up comes this 38-year-old woman who looks like Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Is that how old she is? She's 38?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I
and
didn't
she's
know
like
that.
a teacher, an educator or whatever. And just as I was ready to, continue to skewer her, it came out that the story that she manipulated it, that she and her husband, conspired to fix the results and so that she could go to the Olympics. That's been community noted into the Oort cloud on Twitter. And I read some of the articles, and the Australian Breakdancing Federation, who truly is one of the greatest organizations in all of sports, they have said that didn't happen, that they've promoted this sport with the dignity that it deserves, and they've celebrated the culture and the history of this proud tradition of it. I mean, look, somebody won that event, Pete, and they got a medal that looks just like the medal that Jesse Owens won. You know what I mean?
I know.
Caitlyn, back then, Bruce Jenner, winning gold in the decathlon. 10 different events where he dominated in Montreal, 1976, got a medal that looks just like whatever middle schooler won the breakdance thing.
I brought up this earlier. I mean, I didn't see either of the movies. I just saw but Breakin' 1, Breakin' and then Breakin' 2. And then
Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo. Let's get that one right.
Electric Boogaloo, my bad. And I also brought up, Malcolm Jamal Warner, Theo, aka Theo Huxtable, in one of the Cosby episodes where the kids can go to a concert and the Cosbys were going out with this dancing couple. Blah, blah. Remember, they moved the couch out of the way. They were doing all this funny, nice dancing. And then Theo does a little break dance that was way better than anything I've ever seen. So, yeah. I mean, anybody from the 80s who was living from Breakin' to Boogaloo Boo or Malcolm Jamal Warner could still today do a better routine at their age than this person did. Ray Gunn did.
I would say Mal Jam, because that's what the insiders call Malcolm Jamal Warner. I don't know if you ever. Oh yeah, he once wrote a book, by the way, called "Growing Up Okay." Like Malcolm Jamal Warner got a book. Who read that? Anyway, I would tell them get ready for LA 2028, except I have terrible news. They have announced that they're not going to do it. And in a way, while I'm sad that it won't be an Olympic sport anymore, the Olympic Committee just said, yeah, no dice to that. I think it kind of ended perfectly. And that was with Ray Gunn. Like, she achieved perfection in her sport. 0.0 judges points. That's a record that generations would have tried to achieve.
She said that's not accurate in her post today from Australia. She said that's not accurate. The real numbers are on Instagram.
See, come on, Olympics, get it together. I mean, it's one thing if you have no integrity when it comes to gymnastics and how there's a whole controversy over who deserved the bronze medal in the floor exercises or whatever, or the scandal in the Winter Olympics 2 years ago where the Russians cheated out their buttholes. But can we at least have some integrity when it comes to breakdancing? Can we at least know what the results were? Is that too much to ask? But listen, people were going to try to achieve what she did, and it would have been like Bob Beamon in the long jump in Mexico City, 1968. It took 32 years to even come close to the record he set. And instead, she's going to live forever. We'll never know the names of the people that won that event, who got medals, but we're always going to remember Ray Gunn. And may her fame never fade. Right now I'm wearing a Big Trouble in Little China t-shirt. The great Jack Burton, as he said, may the wings of liberty never lose a feather. May Ray Gunn's fame never fade from the public eye.
A couple more things here, Jerry Thornton. Yeah. You might be angry with me from what I'm about to say. Oh, first of all, real quick, our buddy Andy Hart?
Absolutely.
He just tweeted out an hour ago, "Hey, scumbag who returned my son's lost wallet by throwing it in the grass at the end of our driveway. How about you also return the $340 he had in it from working the grounds crew literally all last weekend at the local baseball tournament?"
Ouch. Okay. I don't want to get into Andy Hart's personal life, but how do we know those $340 in there? You know what I mean? If I lost $40 in my wallet, I'd say it was $340. No, but also like put in the bank.
You know why I believe it? Because it's so sort of random number. It's probably true. I don't know how old his son is. It sounds like 50, a teenager or something. It's unfortunate. So the $40 maybe. Maybe to me it actually does sound legit, but we both
see. My point has always been that if I find someone's wallet, I go, what would I want to have happen if it were mine? And I conclude that I would want to be taught a lesson, So I keep the money, and that way that person is more careful in the future, and that I've done a public service. So no, that sucks. Well, now you can understand why they threw it at the end of the driveway. But
yeah, just great. All right, last thing here. I said you might be mad at me for this, so please understand where I'm coming from. I think you'll like the conclusion of the story. So we talk about movies a lot. We talked about how we would never go see some of these ridiculous movies, including Twisters. Well, I told you, I have an app, and my buddy sends me this stuff all the time. The fact that Twisters only lasted, 2.5 minutes in the movie theater, it's already out on Apple. It's already out on a lot of various apps. So I said, after a couple of cocktails the other day, let me see, so I can laugh at this. I was trying to make up a drinking game for myself or something to entertain. I've never done this before. Now, the premise is the same as Storm Chasers. The storyline is a little bit different about how they get there. And I've only seen the first 20 minutes so far. But you get the idea. Sure. But I am not, I said this, I made this analogy about Goodfellas. I am not, when Ray Liotta was describing Robert De Niro, Jimmy the Gent, Jimmy was the kind of guy that rooted for the bad guy in the movies. I am not that guy. Right. I am not the person that roots for bad things to happen to people in movies unless they really had it coming. The first 2 to 3 minutes of the movie Twisters, I kept saying it out loud, and my wife in the other room, peanut gallery in the other room, was like, "Who are you talking to?" I go, "I'm talking to the TV." I was openly rooting, and it hadn't happened yet. In this beginning, I was openly rooting for the tornado to kill them all, to suck them up and just take them as far away. I don't care if they went to Oz or the moon or whatever. And it happened. Its acting was so awful. I don't know any of those people that are in that movie. The acting, Jerry, was so bad in the first 15 minutes before this one tornado came and sucked 3 of the people up. Then the one girl, Kate is her name, was left. It was fabulous, absolutely fabulous to root for weather in a movie of bad actors. It was outstanding. Of course, I would never wish that on anybody in real life. But in the movies, I can do that and get away with it. I can say with an iron fist, I rooted for the tornado. I overcame, I adjusted, I adapted, and it worked. Because those horrible actors all got sucked away in a matter of moments. It was fantastic. Am I an idiot? Am I crazy?
No, I haven't seen it, but I did have the good fortune of golfing with some guys who did. And we spent at least 3 holes of them just explaining to me, not just that it sucked, but how much it sucked and the various ways in which it sucked and how much it could not have sucked more. And I think my favorite was when they just explained how in the first one, of course, the bad guys are corporate, storm chasers who were only in it for the money, man. And in this one, the bad guys are like professionals, I guess, and the good guys are only doing it because they're YouTube influencers or something.
Yes, YouTube influencers taking selfies and everything. It was beyond stupid.
You can just see these people sitting around a boardroom at some movie studio, and they're all film school graduates with no life experience at all. And they're going, all right, what's an IP that we haven't milked for some cash lately? Well, there was Twister. Okay, Twisters. Okay, now what are the bad guys going to be? And they're going to be professional TV guys, but the good guys will be, what do kids like today? They like influencers. Terrific. Put it in the AI bot and spit out a script. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be good.
Why are you not considered an influencer? Why am I not an influencer? We influence a lot of people in a lot of different ways. We talk about stuff that's video, what you touch, 10-foot pole. Well, I'm an influencer. What is this? What is this broad term?
Here's a message I have for all influencers everywhere. It's a crazy idea, but it might just be crazy enough to work. If you want to call yourself an influencer, do something that's influential. How would that be? Okay, like write a book, write a piece of music, cure a disease, create an app, something that's going to make my life more enjoyable.
Sounds like Angel's job. Angel's done all of that. He's an influencer. And you said Malcolm Jamal Warner, he wrote a book. Is he an influencer?
Sure. Yeah. Well, here's some very influential people throughout history, okay? Yeah. During the Black Death, Sir Isaac Newton created calculus, okay?
Yes.
When he was quarantining from the plague, Shakespeare wrote The Tempest and King Lear in the same year. These a-holes during COVID sat home, ordered DoorDash, and watched Tiger King. Okay, you're going to have to do a bit more if you want to pretend that you've influenced my life at all. Go away. You're the worst people that the human race has ever produced. They go to restaurants and they go, all right, I want a reservation. I also don't want to pay because if I like it, I'll give a review on my Instagram. Like, yeah, that's a great way to pay your employees, right? Okay, also, all you servers, you're not going to get paid tonight. However, when you're buying groceries to feed your children, you can just tell them at the register, here's my 5-star review I got from Braden.
Well, speaking of Tiger King, did you know what's her name? What's the woman's name?
Oh yeah, I can picture her, but we all memory hold her.
Last year or 2 years ago, she threw out her first pitch in Fort Myers at the Mighty Muscles game. They play over at the Twins complex on the other side of Fort Myers. She threw out the first pitch.
The one that we're all 90% convinced killed her husband and fed him to
Yeah. She threw out the first pitch at a Mighty Muscles game in Fort Myers a couple of years ago.
Pete, I have one quick movie rant for you, okay? This is something that's been bugging me for a while, and I keep tracking it. I have to share it with somebody. So I watched a decent movie, not great. I don't want to oversell it, but it's called Passengers with Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence. And it's these people, they're on they're going to a colony in space, and they're put into cryo sleep like an alien, you know? Yeah. And it's supposed to be like a 120-year journey, and they are awakened 80 years early, and they're on the ship with 1,000 other people, but they're the only two that are awake. So, okay, it's a romance thing, whatever it is. It's yet another movie, and TV shows are doing the same thing, where we get the gratuitous butt shot of Chris Pratt, but none of Jennifer Lawrence.
God damn it.
We always see the guy's butt. Butt shots of women are non-existent. And this goes through so many things that I've watched over the last few years. It happened in the show Shogun that I otherwise like. No female butt shots. It's too much to ask that we just get that. It's every movie you see. And now that I've shared it with you, exactly. Throw a bone for the gentleman in the crowd. And let's face it, ladies enjoy a nice lady butt shot as well. But we don't get those. We get Chris Hemsworth in Thor: Love and Thunder, but we don't get Natalie Portman in the same film. Why? Why is that?
Although we have seen Natalie Portman and what's her name from Clueless in that ballet movie.
True.
That was a really good scene.
She's had a couple of thong scenes too. She played an exotic dancer in the movie Closer. Very good. And there was another one she did. I think it was called A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger, where she, it takes place in the Middle Ages. So of course she's wearing a thong bikini because those are really big in medieval England.
But it just cracks me up. Mila Kunis, who's so pretty, and that, and then she's the voice of Meg on Family Guy. It's just like the most abused person in the history of television.
Yes, but Black Swan it's weird and it's crazy, but that scene right there, that is the kind of thing that made Mr. Skin a legend. And he'll always be remembered as the guy who helped make the internet what it is.
But there have been other movies where Jennifer Lawrence has, showed some skin, no question about it. And of course, as Mystique, her changing into, blue into human, that was kind of erotic.
Yeah, how about Mystique has been played by two actresses,
I know.
her and Rebecca Roman Stamos,
The first
who
one.
both of them, when they were as themselves, were like the height of attractiveness. Like if you could change your shape, you would just look like them and not like take any other shape.
A couple lessons. I know I'm keeping it a little bit long, but I mean, so speaking of movies, so I was had a beautiful dinner last night with my nephew, godson, Colin, and his beautiful girlfriend Kim over in Cape Coral, a nice Italian restaurant we went to with my wife, and we had a really nice time. And then I get a text from my sister after sending. She's like, "Send pictures," but me and George, her husband, they went to see Alien Romulus last night. And I don't know if we talked about this. So I wasn't going to see it, but now what I thought, because you're never sure of the timeline. So the timeline for Alien Romulus is between Alien and Aliens. So, like the colonists that, remember Newt, the young girl, was the only one that survived and everything. So I guess it's about those colonists fighting off the aliens, but and then what was it called? LV-240 or whatever the hell it was. So I guess that is the bridge, the buffer between Alien and Aliens is Alien Romulus. So if you have to, I guess that's the thing. And then of course the prequel was what was it called? With Fassbender, something like no, it was before that. Showed how aliens were formed. Yeah, then it was the other two afterwards that were not good. Aliens 3 and then Alien Resurrection. That was after Alien. After Aliens, one of the best sequels of all time with Sigourney Weaver.
Hands down, a desert island movie for me. Absolutely love it. The late great Bill Paxton just improvises the "game over, man," and it just became
in charge.
An instant catchphrase. I've seen the trailer with the Irish Rose, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, that looks really good for Alien Romulus." And I go, I don't see anything that I haven't already seen before. I don't know, like how many more times can I watch them get chased down a stanky hallway with water dripping off the top by the xenomorph?
I'm just wondering if they're making any references to the first movie, to what happened in the first movie before, it's before Aliens 2 and after Aliens. So I want to know if there's any sort of references to the characters. And, Sigourney Weaver's character, Tom Skerritt, was in the first one. I forget the black guy's name who had the alien.
Yaphet Kotto.
Oh, was that? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was great.
And
he was
Harry Dean.
Yeah, he was much better in Midnight Run, by the way.
Oh, he's fantastic.
So we were at the campus cinema in Wakefield, Rhode Island, and when it popped out of his stomach, I was with my parents. My mother had to go to the bathroom and puked. That's a true story.
So if ever I've seen in a movie's going to make you Ralph, it's going to be that one. And
that was kind of unique, even for back in 1979. That was pretty, unique kind of
absolutely groundbreaking, a terrific horror movie. Whereas Aliens, James Cameron did that one. Ridley Scott did the original. Just turned it up like to by an order of magnitude, and turned it into like an action sci-fi horror with exactly the kind of strong female character that everybody in Hollywood is trying to create out of nothing. You know what I mean? Like just, okay, well, now here's Echo in the Marvel series, and she just has tons of powers, and and here's this young plucky girl, and she can kick all the butt in the world. Here's the live action Mulan. Oh well, she believed in herself, and that's why she can do it. No, Ripley just was fearless and refused to quit. She didn't have superpowers. She just had this maternal instinct for Newt, and she was gonna die to save that girl, and that's what made it so great. And going back to Jennifer Lawrence a while ago, she gave an interview where she had the unmitigated gall to say they didn't want to make a movie of Hunger Games because no woman had ever been the lead character in an action film before. And every jaw in the world just dropped. Like, you never heard of Sigourney Weaver, you never heard of Linda Hamilton, you never watched Wonder Woman, Linda Carter. Like, what are we talking about here? Right, and I like her, but get over yourself. Like, you know, they've been doing this stuff since before you were born. So it's not acting like you invented the world.
You forgot one. Drew Barrymore, Batgirl. You know, in one of the Batman movies.
Wait. Alicia Silverstone.
Alicia Silverstone was Batgirl.
Right,
yeah.
Where no reason at all, she just puts on the suit with like 6-inch spiked high heels, and she's doing like backflips and stuff. Please,
But
no.
I
The original Batgirl from the TV series, I just liked the show when I was a kid, and then I watched it again when I was an adult, and I just went, holy moly. Like, no wonder, like,
purple tights on a motorcycle. I mean, that was outstanding.
No wonder grown men watch that show.
Real quick again, but Sigourney Weaver line. I mean, when she gets the metal suit on and comes out to fight the alien in a cargo thing, get away from her, you bitch. I mean, that's one of the great lines in movie history too.
That was a jump out of your seat classic. Absolutely. And I love how they just kind of did the little precursor to that in the first act of the movie of that device. You forget all about it until that garage door goes up and she comes out in that thing. Absolutely. Top 10 movie. If I had to watch one over and over again the rest of my life, that's on the top 10 list for sure.
And finally, again, and then as a comedian, you'll appreciate it. Now, I had never seen Paul Reiser, I don't think, act. I had seen him a bunch of times, comedy clubs and everything else. I always thought, pretty funny, doesn't curse a lot, and I kind of like that and everything else. And I think the sign of a good actor is when you can make somebody hate you. And as Burke in that Paul Reiser, it was I didn't think he was going to be good in that role. I was like, what's this comedian doing in this role? But he was such an a-hole until the alien bit his head off, 3/4 of the way into the movie. But he played a pretty good role for a guy like Paul Reiser. This is before Mad About You, also.
Yeah. They injected a 80s yuppie into this futuristic sci-fi action flick, and he was perfect at it. I would say it's the second most I've ever hated him. The most ever was in My Two Dads, where he's sharing joint custody of a teenage girl and with a guy who's like the hip cool one, and he's the uptight like corporate guy. I defy you to watch 2 minutes. I defy you to sit through the opening credits, find it on YouTube, and you'll sit there and go, this is everything wrong that ever happened in a sitcom. But yeah, good choice by James Cameron to stick him in that one. And I found out recently that there's a deleted scene in which Ripley finds him webbed to the wall.
Oh, really?
Yes. And he's begging her to kill him. And she kind of says, so now you know this is what you tried to do to me and Luke. Yeah. And apparently she hands him a grenade and then walks away. I know. Maybe even a little too intense. I think Mrs. Shepherd might have gone to the ladies' room and barfed up that one as well.
Poor Mama Lucia back then. Oh yeah, it was ugly. It was ugly. And then what was I going to say? The only other thing about that series that I hated is the third one. Well, how they killed Newt right away. One was stuff, which I think was the third one started with one of the aliens in like squid form, still under Newt's little console there, and it broke into glass and killed her. They don't really show it killed her, but you get the general idea. I didn't like. I thought they could have maybe expanded that a little bit with the relationship with her and Ripley. That was the only. It got a little disappointing with that one, and then the resurrection one got silly. But yeah, I didn't like how they killed off Newt. That's just me.
Oh yeah, terrible third sequel, to the point where David Fincher, who started directing it, hated it so much he had his name removed from it, and it was like his first film too.
Yeah,
and he goes on to make like Seven and Fight Club, and actually was the creator of House of Cards, which is a great series.
Great series,
yeah. And like, imagine you're a first-time director and you just go, this is such a disaster. I don't even want to be associated with it anymore. And he sued to have his name removed from it. So, yeah. Well, Pete, it's always a joy to talk to you, my man.
You're the man.
Appreciate your time.
Angel, did you have anything last thing? I didn't even ask. I know if Angel wanted to ask you one quick thing or comment on anything. not to be rude, but there he is.
That's okay. I just patiently wait, and I listen to you guys. I listen to Jerry and his commentary, which is always end up being really good. But Jerry, to go back kind of to the Australian lady here for a second, she mentioned in her video that people were harassing her and giving the family and friends and all, like, I guess, threats and hard time, this and that. Who is putting a threat to breakdancing?
The jealous. The people who know that they don't have her kind of moves. Everybody at a wedding who thinks that they can dance but can't like move it the way she can, who could never just get on the ground and writhe around like a restless like 4-year-old when they climb into your bed because they can't sleep or whatever. That's all. Just petty people who know they'll never achieve the kind of fame and adulation that the amazing Ray Gunn did. So, you know what, haters, just sum it up. And by the way, I hope her fame lasts till late October, because I think getting that green jumpsuit and that hat is an instant Halloween costume.
Yeah. All right, Jake, finally, what do you got? What's coming up this weekend with you? Anything you want to plug, promote, anything? What's going on?
Oh, God, I'm very happy to say I have this weekend off to just chill and relax. I was in the Hampton Beach Comedy Festival Wednesday night. I've got shows down the Cape at Skippy's at Pier 1. It's coming up in September. I'm going to be at Knockabout Brewery in Mashpee coming up. I'm going to put all these dates online, but yeah, I've got a lot of shows coming up for the fall, and I'm doing just as much comedy as I like to do. This weekend, it's going to be all about relaxing on the beach with a cocktail and just letting the world like take care of itself without me standing on a stage commenting on it.
That's awesome. Jerry Thornton, Barstool Sports. You are the best. You are the man, and we'll talk soon. Thanks so much, my friend. I know I kept you a lot longer than we normally do, but it's just, love talking with you. So.
Time flies by, Pete. Peter, thanks. Angel, take care. I hope I got to talk to you guys again real soon.
All right. Thanks, Jerry. Really appreciate it. There it is. Jerry Thornton, one of the best ever from Barstool Sports, joining us. And we are way, way late for a break, Angel. So we're going to take a break and maybe come back. I'll play some NFL cuts from Total Sports Prep, and then we'll call it a day because you have your show coming up and on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I want to give you ample time to prepare for your show. So I'll make sure we're out of here, give you more than a few minutes to get ready. And what's coming up on your show today? Or is it just...
Nope. A little NASCAR talk is a former, now retired NASCAR driver who was arrested for a DUI, not a very good look, which there's been concern for many, many years that it could have been a possibility, but hopefully that maybe it'll be an eye-opener. Also, the recap from the USF women's soccer game, which was a really good game, and they have their next game coming up here on the 18th. Plus some other news and stories coming up.
Okay. When we come back, some NFL stuff. But right before that, another funny video I have. It's you want to reach through and punch the guy. It happened in Las Vegas at a buffet. I'll just leave it there for the tease. Then we will play the video for you. And tell me you don't want to fly over to Vegas and just punch this guy dead in the face because he deserved it. And then some NFL news as well. All part of the Pete Shepherd Show. Final segment coming up here on a Friday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Andersen windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Andersen windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Chicken and Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Okay, men. This is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. No, you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You want the best in sports and entertainment? You got it. Now, back to the Pete Shepherd Show.
All right, back here, final segment of the Pete Shepherd Show. I will have a few NFL cuts to play you in a few minutes here. Just getting ready. But I do want to play a couple more videos, Angel, if we could, off my Twitter account that I retweeted today. If we could scroll down to Colin Rugg. This is has nothing to do with sports. And the only reason I'm playing it because this person was not hurt. This happened in Louisa County, Virginia, on I-64 West, as a woman tried to pass somebody in the left lane by going into the embankment. It's right below, Angel. It's scroll down. It's right below the 2 down from Reagan's. Yes, this is it. The one, you got it. So this happened. Let me just set the scene again. This happened in Louisa County, Virginia. Roll tape. Here's when you root for the bad guy again for bad things to happen.
Never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw. Been in trouble with the law since the day
It's a
they was born, straightening the curves, flattening the hills.
ouch.
Someday the mountain might get 'em, but the law never will. Making their way the only way they know how.
Yeehaw!
Good Lord.
So the user claims this was the third time the female driver had been involved in a road rage crash. Quote, not her first road rage offense either. She's totaled at least 2 other vehicles since I've known her. The disability she claims to have is EDS. She's addicted to painkillers, the text read. The woman appears to have survived as she was sitting atop the stretcher as the scene arrives. As the stretcher at the sitting up on the stretcher at the scene. I like the music.
Exactly.
I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. Some of these people, this is just stupid. Yeah. All right, now 2 down after that from our buddy Gabe Morency, great handicapper, works for Sports Grid and stuff. This happened. It's under Las Vegas local to Gabe Morency. Yes, just you got to see this to believe it. This happened in Vegas at Caesars or some buffet in Vegas. Check this out.
Appreciate you, boss. Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
I can't see it.
Oh, well. Can I have more?
I can't see it. Okay, thanks.
All right, give it a second. It should pop back up your way.
Yep, I see it. Yep.
Okay. Appreciate you, boss. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Oh, well. Can I have more lobster or not?
You can have more lobster once you have completed these, sir.
I have to eat all this first. To be clear, the rules are that I have to finish a plate before I go back to the buffet.
For the lobsters, yes. We have a sign right over there.
It says 1 per plate.
Yes.
It doesn't say you have to eat the plate before you come back, though.
What was that?
I wasn't even talking to you. Who are you? Who are you? I wasn't talking to you.
Sir, will you just please?
The casino who be taking all y'all money has a problem with me taking some lobster, all you can eat. Stop playing with me. So I'm here at the Palms in Vegas trying to put y'all onto the good spots. You know what I'm saying? And the manager comes over to my table like, excuse me, are you going to eat all that? The rule said 1 piece per plate. So that's exactly what I was doing. I would get 1 piece, take it back to my table, and then go back and get another piece. Hey, listen, after all that, I ain't even going to hold y'all. That lobster was busting. The butter had some seasoning and only $80 too. This deal is definitely worth it. But the way that they treated me made me want to leave immediately.
You're not supposed to be back here. You're not supposed to be back here. You're not supposed to be back here, please.
A jackass. What an absolute jackass. He should be banned from Vegas. I mean, what did we do? I mean, come on. He's lucky they didn't take him out back and beat the crap out of him or in the side room, for, like somebody that could counting cards. Like you need to have the money or the hammer, but you can't have both, as Robert De Niro said in Casino.
Yeah, and then he's throwing away food that other people could have easily eaten. I mean, it's such a
Not
waste.
just any food, sacred food, lobster. Now, the other complaint I have, Angel, is where in the wide, wild world of sports was this buffet at the Palms when we were in Vegas for Super Bowl in January? Because the several casinos and hotels that we had to walk through, we didn't get to I don't think we got to the Palms, but
no,
because you couldn't find a lot of buffet. They don't have all these fancy buffets anymore. Now, Caesars used to have a great one where it was like $5.99 and you could get lobster and kind of all you can eat. Now, even an $80 all you can eat, I think is worth it. For if you can have as many lobsters as you can, and I totally understand, yeah, 1 or 2 at a time, and then you can, whatever. Those lobster tails look pretty good, by the way, with that butter he was. But that's food abuse beyond belief. But where the hell was that buffet when we were there? There's none of that when we were there.
There's none of it. At least that I can recall, there was none of it there. By the way, Gaspam guy earlier before the commercial break says, I love when Jerry comes on. He's awesome, LOL. And then he just followed that up with, that guy's a piece of crap. I believe he's living off the government help because he thinks everyone owes him something. And he's probably not living off the government help. I just think he's got nothing else better to do. And you guys just heard Jerry talk about not so long ago when these people want to do these influencer. He's probably wants to try to become an influencer. So he just thought that it's one of those things that he figured, well, let me make this video here, see how cute it is. But someone said in one of the comments, he's been 86th, which is pretty much thrown out of buffets for stuff like this. So you're wasting resources. You're wasting food that other people can end up, buying for the most part and eating. I mean, it's just it was so just dumb, really dumb.
Yep. The other thing before we close out the show with a couple of NFL cuts, as I said earlier, we played all the stupid videos for you today that needed to be played and entertaining ones, and that is just God. That guy should be banned from Vegas. So ESPN fired Robert Griffin III, and they fired Sam Ponder. The RG3 conspiracists say because he said some nasty thing or tweeted out some negative stuff, not even derogatory, negative stuff about Paul Feinbaum. I've seen a couple of them. Didn't look that bad to me. I think there was budgetary cuts here as well. But Sam Ponder, well, apparently they don't like when she strayed away from sports. And she's been there since 2011. She worked her way up from the Longhorn Network back in the day for Texas when that was a thing. And the story says, Ponder has increasingly strayed from ESPN's preference that its personalities stick to sports in recent months, which could provide some clues regarding her next destination, which tells me that she's probably leans more to the right than the left, because ESPN lets people who lean to the left do whatever they want, and people to the right get fired if you disagree. See Sage Steele and others for that.
But true.
So anyway, so that's that. All right, just a couple of cuts here, Angel. If we go back to Total Sports Prep, if you don't mind, from the Cincinnati Bengals, I think a couple of cuts. Our buddy Mike Petraglia out in Cincinnati. What did I have? Where the hell? Yeah, where did I see it? I know I saw it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, let's start with Bills coach Sean McDermott. Here's what he had to say on News 8, WROC, regarding the horrible injury to one of the best players in the NFL, and Matt Milano. It's cut number 2.
When you know the person, you know that this is not going to beat or keep Matt Milano down. Obviously this period in time right now has been tough for him, for all of us, but in particular for him and his family. And he knows all the work that he put in. No one knows the work that Matt put in to get himself back to where he was before this recent injury. So, that's probably one of the harder things to swallow, pills to swallow right now. Is we just saw him work his butt off. He stayed in Buffalo all summer to get back off of the leg injury, and now this happens. So, it's unfortunate set of circumstances, but again, I know he's going to handle it well.
It really stinks. And like I said earlier, for those of you who don't know, what didn't even happen in a game, it happened at practice on Tuesday in a tackling drill with a tackling dummy. Just got his arm caught up, and said, that just absolutely stinks. Meanwhile, let's see. The next cut down. Actually, 2 cuts down there. Joey Burrow, from my buddy Mike Petraglia on X.com. Joey Burrow says he is ready to go health-wise for this season.
Health-wise, player-wise, yeah, I'm happy with where I'm at. We got a couple more weeks of good work before we play the first game, so a lot of reps to improve on, but we're moving in the right direction.
All right, that's good. Couple cuts down. Dallas's Dak Prescott joking around with reporters saying about pay.
You guys get paid pretty well to write headlines and to do your job, and respectively so, but I can't allow that to affect how I get paid in my job. You don't get paid well? Y'all a couple of y'all need to start holding out too then.
That's pretty good.
If we could scroll down to the second last cut on page 1 there, about head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid, discussed the value of going away as a team during training camp.
I know it's a small thing, but in some ways it's not, right? Like coming away to camp, and is this a part? What does it mean to you to go away to camp, and why are you still doing it?
Yeah, I think probably even more important now than it was before. The kids, they'll get on their cell phones and not communicate. They'll communicate through the cell phone. So here they're eating dinner with each other. They're sleeping in the same dorm rooms and sharing bathrooms and doing. You've got to talk, and you've got to communicate. You develop relationships, and for a team, the stronger that bond is, the more you respect the guy next to you. You go that little extra mile. So I like it. I mean, I like coming away, and The beds?
He was complaining about the beds.
Yeah, the beds, not so much. But, it all ties in. And you kind of look forward to it.
Yep. Yeah. The young guys, obviously, it's important. For some of the guys that may be 8-10-year veterans, you got to try to keep it fresh. How do you do it for those guys?
Yeah, I'm not a big meeting guy where I stand up there and lecture the guys and do all of that. So if I can get it on a 3x5, if I can't get it on a 3x5 car, they're not getting it. And so they're not getting the same story over and over that sometimes you get with a coach that's been there a while. And then we try to change things up to a point. Players like to kind of know where they're at and where they've got to go. I think we all probably do. So we give them that and say, listen, you take care of this. We're not going to take you out and run you extra or play games with you. We're going to work here, and this is what we expect, and this is why we're doing it. And I think guys handle that a lot better than you playing little games with them. And then it just keeps it fresh that way. They get in, they get out, they get their rest in and do the other parts of the game that are important other than the things on the field.
All right, and a couple more here, Angel. If we could scroll down to page 2, cut number 1. Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs quarterback, talks about one of his favorite traditions at training camp.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's even more than dorms. We always go to Lazarone a couple times, and we take the guys, we get some pizzas. I usually do it after kind of like the second padded day before the 10-10-10, so we were there yesterday. And so don't remember that for next year and try to storm our party. We go there and you just eat and you just joke around. I think Ian Book had like 9 pieces of pizza yesterday, man. I had to calm him down because the first time we went, the O-line, he only got 1 piece because the O-line ate all his pizza. So he went in this last day. So, no, but the stuff like that is where you build that bond. And then you have those jokes and stuff for the rest of the year. And that's what builds the great culture that we have.
Sounds like a hoot.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh, next cut after that, talks about Colin Kaepernick will not be on the Chargers coaching staff or active roster this year.
But just because, I say that to Jarrett Bell, I love Colin and always will. I mean, that gets conflated into that he might play here or might coach here. That's yeah. But I love Colin, but he's not going to be on the coaching staff is set for this year, and he's not going to be playing on the roster either.
Oh, that's a shame. And finally, last cut today, Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh. Here's a funny little anecdote about one of the great quarterbacks in history that never won a Super Bowl, Dan Fouts.
He talked about not being a huge motivational guy, but that one thing he did was when he played the offensive line, guys on offense, they would have a dinner every Saturday night, and if the team won the previous game, Dan would buy everybody dinner, and there'd be steaks and lobsters, and if they lost the game, then they had to buy him dinner, and it was spaghetti. So during that epic in Miami, got down toward the end of the drive, and said, "What's going to be, guys? Steak or spaghetti?" And it's cool stuff. I mean, Hall of Famer, Dan Fouts, got a great reception from the team. Guys love it.
The ringing's coming over the air. If that means, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know, and I try to silence it, but for some reason, I don't know what the hell that was. But obviously, something coming in.
Well, we're gonna end the show today anyway because you got to get ready. I did want to say that I don't want to end on a somber note, but our sales manager so our thoughts and prayers go out to Paul and his entire family. Okay, I'll be back Monday. Thanks to Jerry Thorne. Thanks to Angel Martinez doing a great job. Martinez and Company coming up at 10 a.m. with a whole bunch of different stories and theories and conspiracy. Whatever it is, it'll be fun. It'll be entertaining. I am Pete. Thanks, everybody, for the continued support across the Coastal Sports Network video platform and on the app. I will be back Monday at 7 a.m. Angel, do you want me to hit end broadcast, or you're going to do it, or how do you want me to do this? You're coming up in a few minutes, right at 10 o'clock.
Yep, I'm coming up in a few minutes here at 10 o'clock. So, yeah, I'll take care of it from this end.
All righty. I will shut the music off, so that's not a problem. And thanks for everything, Angel. You're the best. Thanks for everything that you do. And I'll be back Monday at 7 a.m. Bye.